Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Benchmonster TV.
I'm Ashley Lynn Condre.
I am the Benchmonster, Ryan Kennelly.
Welcome to the show.
As you're aware, this week we have Mr. Ken Lain on the show. This has been a dream come true.
Excited. Yep.
I never thought this would happen. It gave me chills when he answered my Facebook messages and it got me all excited, and I'm nervous a little bit, but it feels good. This guy right here was the man who basically convinced me that human beings can bench press 700. I remember Powerlifting USA in 1993 when I thumbed through the magazine and I saw the Enzer article, Anthony Clark on one side, Ken Lain on another. And I was always wondering who this Ken Lain guy was. And I'm just glad to finally have the opportunity to meet him. And he's on Benchmonster TV. And this is just surreal. And I'm just so excited. I got a little intro here. I'm going to read about Mr. Ken Lain. And I put together a little video. This video is the baddest bench in America. It was filmed on April 25th, 1992. And it was put on by John Enzer, and Ken Lain lifts in that event at the 275 body weight. And I think he attempts a 670 bench and a 700. And as you're watching that, I'll read this little bio that I have here, and then we'll bring Ken Lain on. And Ashley has a lot of questions to ask, so I want to get started.
We're excited to get some answers.
All right, so we'll check out this video. I got to put a backing on, I think. Okay, Ken Lain started out as a competitive bodybuilder and changed course into powerlifting. Soon he started breaking world records in the bench press. His first record was in the 275-pound weight class with a 644 bench. He then went on to bench 655 pounds, and then 661. He then went up to the super heavyweight class and set 4 more records, breaking Ted Arcidi's record of 705 bench press with a 708-pound, 711-pound, 717, and 722-pound bench press. Ken dropped back down to 242 body weight class and bench press 644. Then broke it again with a 655, looking more like a bodybuilder. From there, he went back up to 275 and benched 670 and 700. With a total of 11 world records, 18 national and state records. This guy is impressive, and this man has inspired me to become who I am today. He's the one and only, as you see on the screen, Ken Lain. And we'd like to bring Ken on Lain right now. Ken, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing great.
Hey.
Thanks for that intro. Gee whiz. Yeah. You make me feel almost young again.
You are young.
Oh, yeah. No, my prime is passed a long time ago. I was telling somebody the other day I used to walk through the mall, turn heads like a midget in a nudist colony. But now I walk through the mall, people are looking at me and they're pointing to the Geritol section and the pins. So things change in a 30-plus year time.
It does change.
Absolutely.
Well,
man, it is great to have you.
Yeah, I'm very excited, Ken. And I
followed you, and I've always admired your physique. Scott Mendelson had a good physique, and you guys, I was just glad to see guys like you take the sport and continue to show folks that you can look good and you can be strong. Sport needs that. It really does.
I agree.
You've done a good job. You've done a heck of a job.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that.
I may have been a small hero of yours, but you rapidly became mine.
Oh my God, Ken, you're making me blush. Hold on. I really appreciate that, Ken. I really do. You are, one of my heroes in the bench press because just starting out, I had to find somebody to look up to, and I just found myself looking at the big guys, and I remember Gus Rethwich at my first meet that I did. He had a little pamphlet that he'd put together for the lifters, and it would have the Oregon State records and the Washington State records when he was out here living in Bend, Oregon at the time. And I remember the open record class, and it had your name in it, like at 308, 700 bench. And I was like, the infamous Ken Lain. Who is this guy? And because I kind of knew the other names on there, but but Gus always spoke very highly about you. And I can remember numerous times, we talked yesterday a little bit, that Gus told me, you got to have big forearms, Kennelly. All the great benchers, Arcidi, Ken Lain, they got big forearms. And Gus used to speak very highly of you, and that kind of like kind of built the fire. And I never thought in a million years that I'd be able to sit down and talk to you. And this is just truly an honor. And I just thank you so much for being here this evening.
Well, trust me, it's my honor to be here with you, and see you face to face, eye to eye. I know that you're humble. That just makes people love you more.
Yep. Thank you.
You're doing everything right.
Okay, thank you, Ken.
Carry on, Bubba.
I will. As you know, Ken, we have a lot of questions here. Ashley is going to ask you. We've kind of went over them briefly, and feel free to answer them how you like. Yeah. These are the standard questions that we ask all our guests, and I think they're kind of fun. And I'll let Ashley take the mic, and we'll start with the first question. She has quite a few.
Well, come on.
Ready?
Yeah.
Read them.
If you'd let me.
Okay.
All right. Again.
Yeah, I see who the boss is. Yeah. I totally get that.
You
totally
get
understand.
it, right?
Absolutely.
Catching it right away, right? You know what's up. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure to get to have you here. Okay. So, first question is, when and how did you get into weightlifting, like in general? And then how did you get introduced into powerlifting? Well,
that's a great question. I never set out to be a powerlifter. I just never did. I started out in bodybuilding. Weightlifting was something that I was always good at. And, in high school, I benched 350. Now, nowadays, that's nothing. But back in 76, that was unheard of. The best lifts back then, for high school kids was 250-ish, right there. And, I had a bench press that was, over 100 pounds, better than, the guy that was second to me. And so weightlifting just kind of came natural to me. And then I was genetically blessed. I had big calves, never really had to work calves. My legs were there. Calves are one of them muscles. If you got them, you got them. If you don't,
right.
You don't.
Right.
Anyway, I started out in bodybuilding and won my first 3 bodybuilding contests and went through a divorce, which when I was training for another, and I was training for a national qualifier in Dallas, and which I shouldn't have been doing, and with that kind of stress going on. Right. Anyway, that's excuse. But anyway, that's the first and only meet that I ever got my butt kicked. And I've won every meet that I've ever entered, and that becomes a habit. It becomes a good habit.
Right.
And losing that one just absolutely devastated me. So I decided I was just going to get grossly big after that, and started trying to put heavier weights, and started going hitting some powerlifting meets because I was training like that anyway.
Okay.
And I mean, it was just it was easy, for me. Powerlifting was, I could eat whatever I wanted to, and I didn't have to worry about a diet. And anyway, 88's when I lost that bodybuilding meet. In 88's, I set my first world record, at one of John Inger's bench press.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a guy that had always been kind of a mentor of mine. His name was Robert Dyer, and he's kind of like Ed Cohn.
Okay.
He's just real knowledgeable, and when he speaks, people listen to him. He's got a consulting business, and that's what he does is he consults clubs and exercise programs and that type of thing. He's done real well at it. But anyway, I had just finished a record up there, and he comes, walking up. He was a 220 pound class powerlifter. He was in the top 5, in his time. But he come up and he said, "What are you going to do?" And I told him, I said, "Well, I'm thinking about training for that Houston national qualifier." And he looked at me, and I'm not going to say on air, exact words he said, yes, but it was pretty much, "What kind of freaking idiot are you?" He said, "You just set a world record here in the bench press." He said, "What are your chances of ever being a world champion in bodybuilding?" And that's just how he said it.
Okay.
And Anyway, Robert was one of those guys. When he talks, you listen, and but he's the one that really got me thinking. Well, you know what? I should do this, because I'm good at it. And he and another guy, that guy's passed away, but Ken Adcock was another good. He was a bodybuilder and power.
Okay.
And actually, he and I had hit some bodybuilding meets together. But Robert, as far as a person that really got me into powerlifting, that's the man right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guy that I always respected and admired was Bill Kazmaier. I was junior, senior in high school, and he had a 661 bench back then, and raw,
Absolutely.
and just fooling around. And again, this is back in the 70s, so, and I never dreamed, I would ever, get up around a 661 bench. I just, I thought, good God, that's got to be, humanly impossible.
Right.
But he was, I guess, the guy that I looked up to at that time and thought, it could be done. Of course, I think then he had already started into the strongman contests and stuff. And I told you guys, you asked me a question, I'm liable to go too long. Y'all feel free to say, hey, Ken, we got another question. So.
Well, it's your, you go as long as you want. Sure.
But anyway, you turned me loose. I can't promise what you're going to get.
Well, we are excited for sure.
You ready for another question, Ken?
Turning you loose.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Did you play any sports in high school? If so, which ones?
Well, I'll let y'all take a guess. I was, in a small school in Colorado City, Texas. I think population back then was 5,500. It was one of the small West Texas towns. And I played football my freshman year. My sophomore and junior year, now y'all will find this kind of odd, but I went to work in the oil field, morning time, and I went to school during the day, and you're slinging around pig iron out there in that oil field, and really, that's where a lot of my strength came from.
Okay.
At an early age, my dad was a tool pusher, back in those days, which was the reason I was even able to get out there. I wasn't 16 years old, and so my junior sophomore year, I was roughnecking 7 days a week, a morning tire on a drilling rig. And, at the end of that junior year, I got to thinking, good God almighty, man, I got one more year of school left, and I had no social life. It was school, work, and what little sleep I could get in between. So, most people don't even know I existed, but I decided that, and I was capable of working anywhere. I could do the derricks, the floors, the spin train, or whatever. And so I just went to working on weekends because somebody was always running off. And I went out for football again.
Okay.
And anyway, ended up, I had 2 scholarship offers to play football.
Wow.
They were both junior colleges, but they were still there available. And I broke an ankle in the oil field 6 weeks before spring training, and that's that story. So yeah. So again, go right ahead. Ask me something else. I told you my answer is allowed to be long.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, you go as long as you want. We're into it. Let's see. How much did you squat, bench, and deadlift in high school?
Well, like I said, now free weight wise, the 350 was the bench. We had a squat bar. I don't remember what I squatted because we had just gotten the school. We didn't really have free weights.
Okay.
We had like one bar, a bench press bench, some weights, and then 2 squat racks.
Okay.
And then we had a universal machine. But squat, I don't know. And then I know the leg press, there was me and one other guy. The leg press was 500 pounds. And we both could stack it out and do reps with it. And we could stand on the stack. Now that was a leg press thing. And of course, this was in high school.
Right.
But deadlift, back in 75, 76, nobody even knew what a deadlift was. Not around me, anyway. I mean, I did, and I didn't know much about it, and we just never practiced. We did cleans,
Absolutely.
we did some of that, but as far, and that's probably why I was never any good at the deadlift.
Same here, Ken.
I never did learn that lift.
So 350 bench in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, which and again, that was considered a really good bench in '76.
Absolutely.
What'd you weigh in high school?
220.
220, nice.
I graduated 220. Actually, it's but between 220 230.
Okay.
220 is what I played football at, which was big. I was the second biggest guy on the team, but I wasn't as porky, as the biggest guy.
Right.
If you know what I'm talking about. But
Okay.
small school in West Texas, though. Yeah.
Okay. Next question.
We ready for the next question? All right.
I already asked him that.
Right here. Okay. When was your first meet? How much did you squat, bench, or deadlift?
Or just bench?
Or did you just bench? Yeah.
Well, I did. I did full meets. I started out doing full meets.
Okay.
And my squat. I mean, my deadlift always sucked.
Yeah.
My bench was always good. I was always, and I didn't use the shirt.
Right.
I didn't even know about the blast shirts. But I was benching in the 500s. When I was out trophy hunting,
Right.
what have you. And it was just raw, no gear, no belt, no nothing.
Old school.
My squat was always, up around 7.
Oh wow, Ken.
But now my deadlift, 525, 550, and I'd leave skid marks on my underwear doing it. I was telling Ryan last time we talked. I got world championships in Italy. I thought I was only going to be doing a bench press program, and the 275-pound class guy that was supposed to be doing all 3 lifts got sick, and wasn't able to show up. So, hey Ken, you're the guy. You're gonna have to do all 3. And I hadn't even trained, for the squat and the deadlift. And now I set a world record. I did the 661 there in the bench, but I did a 765 squat. And then I did a 606 deadlift, which is the best deadlift.
That's a good deadlift. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it's a terrible deadlift. But I mean, in the German, there were some German lifters there. They had a team, and I remember, how you go up and you put your opener down, before the meet that you're going to be opening with. And I had a 550 opener on my deadlift, and or it may have been 500. It was something light.
Right.
And then I had like a 605 or 6 something opener for the bench. The German guys were laughing because I thought I'd transposed it. I always kind of laughed at it. No, that's what I'm going to be attempting.
Yeah.
But thank God I ended up winning our class for the meet. But my job, I was hoping to set a world record there, and did. Ernie France put that meet on him and a guy named Enzo Catucci. While I'm on that story, I'll go ahead and finish off with another question. You're going to ask. We were there for 8 days. The U.S. team was, but that is the only place that I've ever had respect like that.
Right.
As far as an athlete, and I was on every night. I was on some television show. And it's major networks, that they would let me go on to. And of course, I had a translator. They were doing the show or the shows in Italian. But I would have I'd have a translator, going back and forth, with the questions and stuff. But I mean, just total respect. And Ryan shared with me, his story about Ukraine and how they treated him, like he was Madonna or Taylor Swift.
Kind of did, yes.
And I can relate to that. But Italy's the only place that I was ever treated with that kind of admiration and respect. And I can see why these Hollywood people and pro athletes, that I'm not saying we could be pro, we should be, but I won't even get into that story.
Yeah.
But I can understand how that's addicting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
For sure.
all right, I'll shut up. You can ask me something.
Yeah, they
No,
sure
no,
respect
like-
strength athletes in Europe and stuff.
You
Yeah,
get a lot more respect in Europe than you do here in
all the hard
States.
work we do
Oh,
and to go over there and be
absolutely.
respected like that was just.
It's exactly why Bill Kazmaier moved there. You know, I mean, he left the U.S. and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he moved over there. You know, I don't know if he's still there or not. I assume he is. But it was and all your strong guys, you know, your world's strongest men now, they're all coming out of Europe
Right.
because they train for that meet. Which can I tell a story? It just hit me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, kid.
Absolutely.
I want to hear it.
Y'all
Please.
will appreciate this.
Please do.
There was some guys who puts on that world's strongest. Have you ever been invited to it, Ryan?
No, I have not. No.
Okay. Well, anyway, I got invited.
Okay.
And anyway, Ed Cohn, that's another guru, man. If he opens his mouth, you better be listening.
Yes, sir.
And anyway, I told him, I said, man, I got invited over to this world's strongest men competition. Don't go. And I'm going,
What?
What?
He's just gonna make a fool out of you. And you know, he told me about, you know, and what Ed have a 900 deadlift somewhere, you know, better.
901. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he said the 300-pound Atlas ball. It was everything he could do to pick it up. You know, 'cause we don't train like that. You know, and you know, he said it was everything he could do to pick up that 300-pound Atlas ball
Okay.
or Atlas stone. You know, because you know it didn't have anything to get his grip on.
Right.
You know, I mean, he had all the strength in the world to pull it, but anyway, I took his advice and I declined on going to that thing, and I'm glad I did because I would have been in the same boat. You know, getting over it. At the time, I had the world record in the bench like you had, and you know, they wanted me to come over and compete, and they were going to pay the way and do the whole.
Right.
I mean, it made it real enticing, and but I am really glad that I declined on that because, I mean, you know, it's just like it'd be just like stepping in the ring with Sugar Ray Leonard or somebody. A boxer, they're gonna beat the poop out of me.
Oh yeah.
They would have beat the poop out of me and made a fool out of me over there. But thank you, Ed Cohn, if you're listening to this or ever do listen to it, for that advice. For sure.
That's an interesting story. That was fun to hear.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, it would a lot of times when y'all ask me a question, you know, something will ping, it'll tink. But y'all got to remember, it's been 30 plus years, and I'm getting old, so my memory's not what it used to be.
Oh, dude, like we get it.
Life's like a roll of toilet paper. The closer it gets to the end, the faster it goes. Yeah. That's something you guys are going to find out. Eventually.
That's awesome, Ken. I've never heard it told like that. That's awesome. Closer it gets, the faster it goes.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Too. The closer it gets to the end, the faster it goes.
For real. I like that. That's a great story too. Like I said earlier, like if any of these trigger stories for you, like spill them. We like stories.
You know, we'll be here all night. If y'all give me an opening like that. So I don't want to do that. So go ahead.
All right. Okay, I need to keep my spot better. You already asked that one, right? Okay. When was your first meet?
Where you asked that question? Right here.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought it was.
No, I asked that already.
Okay. How often did you train in your bench press shirt?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, and I didn't have any coaches or anything. I did everything pretty much on my own.
Okay.
So it was, you know, trial and error. And but I would end up putting my shirt on when I got to 5. I did a 10-week program. I think you took that program, Ryan.
I did.
And modified it, and you know, and
the Matrix program. I actually ran that.
But you know, when I got down to 5s, then I would move into the shirt.
Okay.
And you know, for protection reasons, and because it changed, you know, your groove. And you know, come to find out, I was amazed when I'd get to meets and people were putting their shirts on for the first time. You know,
Yeah.
Lord, I mean,
that's old school. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you know how do you know what you're gonna lift? You know, but anyway, that's when I start training with the shirt, and then my 10-week program actually ended up being a 9-week program because I cut out the doubles, and the doubles were causing me to peak too early, And, what I knew, whatever I could triple in good form, I could add 10% to.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and I learned that the hard way. It's learn them lessons, because and listen to them, because my dad always told me, and y'all gonna like this one too, because
Okay.
it's so true. And I quote it all the time. He'd tell me, he said, son, you don't learn anything the second time a mule kicks you, and that applies to a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's advice that I would give the guys is, the definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different
That's
result.
right.
For sure.
And so, I mean, learn from your mistakes and adjust. So
Very true, Ken.
I like that one too.
did that even answer your question?
Absolutely, yeah. How have you trained
Yeah.
your shirt? You said
Yeah.
about the 5 rep range week, of like the 5th, 6th week or something.
Yeah. It just worked well for
Okay.
me, because that shirt changes the groove.
It does.
I can't even imagine going to a meet and trying a shirt on, and having not ever done it before,
And like I told you, Ken, back with the crew a long time ago when I trained, we'd break out our shirts. And I didn't know any better, so I just followed along with the other guys. They'd break them out 2 weeks before a meet, and then try to figure out, what they were going to do in their shirt. It was like last minute, and
craziness. Yeah, now we know that. Or I'm assuming everybody does it different now.
Yes.
They've got to be training in the shirts, the weights that they're lifting.
That's right. Yep.
But anyway, but yeah, that's what worked best for me.
Okay. Want me to read the next one?
I got it. Sorry, guys.
Very bottom.
My eyes have just been bothering me real bad.
It's my white hair.
No, it's not.
No, ask anybody that watches this show. My eyes are I've been having a lot of problems with them, so I apologize for the constant eye drop. That won't be the last time either.
You wouldn't do well here in this Oklahoma area. The friggin' that's one thing. I moved here and I had allergies I didn't even know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you I call it the green country, so something's spitting out pollen of some sort all the time. So I feel your pain.
Oh, gee, yeah. I would not make it well there at all then. I struggle. Okay.
Make sure you get the next page ready, because part of the questions is on the other page.
Oh, you're right.
And I got them labeled for you.
What do you mean label?
Like page 1.
Oh, okay. All right. How important are training partners? Did you have a team or a crew that you trained with during your bench press training?
I did not when I was training for a meet. All I had was a spotter. Now I had great training partners in off season, but training for a meet, my spotter, he spotted for me, and he would lift some, with me, but it was it's just intense. Ryan, I know you know what I'm talking about. It's it ain't time to be lollygagging and
absolutely
BSing. It's just a different time. On my heavy days, especially.
Okay.
It was all me, and then of course my spotter, and that spotter is really important. It's got to be somebody you trust, and that's another story. I'll tell another time.
So your spotter was capable of getting that 700 pounds out to you pretty easily? Or?
My wife, just like yours could. My wife could have spotted for me, getting the bar out there. Because I got most of it out of the racks myself.
Oh,
what I needed was the guide, the guide from back here.
Getting it out in your line.
Yeah, to here. It didn't take a whole lot, to get it out of the racks.
Okay.
For them. Like I say, my wife could have done that.
Oh.
Wow.
But, bringing it out and then dropping it, have you ever had them do that to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is major no-no.
No.
Yeah, that happened to me, at Hawaii meet at one time. But they had designated spotters at that meet. My dad ended up spotting me for me at that meet, and never had spotted for me before in his life.
What?
Oh.
That's how bad it was. But Dad done a great job. I went back and told him what I needed, and the guys that were spotting there for me, they would pick up too much of it.
Yes, sir.
One, and then they would guide it out and drop it. You
Oh
know,
no,
and it was
not cool.
600 plus pounds, and I'm using a blast shirt in those days,
Right.
and you talk about putting a whammy on your shoulders.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
I just, I said, man, let me get my own spotter, and they did. Well, who do you want? I said, I'll take my dad, and of course, Dad was a nervous wreck,
I'm
but
sure.
Oh, I bet. I can't
I
A
did
imagine.
lot of stress.
I did a 650 at that meet, and the 275 pound. What was the 275 pound class record at that time was? Is that right? Uh, yeah, I think it was 44 that I got in Texas on the 275 broke it the first time. I think 650 is what I got in Hawaii.
Okay.
That broke it again but my dad spotted for me on that. On
Will,
that.
yeah, way to go, Dad.
Yeah,
That's
no good.
good for him.
Yeah, that's
Good
awesome.
for you guys. That's awesome. Love it. Anything else you want to add on that one?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
All right.
If something pops in my head in a minute, I'll go off chasing a rabbit if you don't stop.
All right. This one's a random one that Ryan always has to throw in there. What type of music do you listen to when you train?
Whatever was playing.
Whatever.
This was before the iPod.
Yep.
I mean, whatever was going on. It was generally, rock.
Yeah.
Not a rock, but that's generally what. And it was in my gym. We generally tried to play something, that didn't offend anybody.
Right. Right.
But yeah, whatever was playing
Okay.
was fine with me.
All right.
And it would have been nice to have had, an iPod.
Yeah.
And those didn't come till after my time.
Yeah.
So, or they may have been there, but I just didn't know anything about them. So it went had somebody.
All right. I know he always has to put that question in there.
Just curious.
What do you listen to, Ryan? What do you listen to?
It's a wide variety. Heavy metal, the Metallica, something like that. Something fast paced.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the heart pumping.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yep. He gotta love Grinder, his intro song.
6 Feet Under is a heavy metal group. Yeah.
Mhm.
Then we have other people that like even more crazy heavy metal, like the stuff you can't understand.
Yeah.
They sound like they're growling on the microphone,
Yeah.
like. "Arr!"
Yeah,
Some people
see,
like
I'm not
that.
a big fan of
Yeah.
that. I like Grinder, like
Yeah, I like middle of the road, Metallica. Yeah, Slayer.
Metallica. I
Yeah.
love.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right here.
I,
It's a
I
weird
need
one.
to mark off as I go, so I know. Okay. This is another one you always sneak in there that I find. Okay.
There probably wasn't. That's not the
Oh.
question though. Just curious.
Did you ever use any pre-workout prior to training?
That could be coffee. I mean, anything. Any.
Oh yeah, always. Some sort of energy drink. There was a product called Drive. It was 100% guarana. I used that some. It was one of my favorites.
Okay.
But I always said, energy drinks. Yeah, before the meet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? And like, did you like the Monster?
There was NOS. Made a real good product,
Yeah.
and I put it in my gym for a while, and then the gym couldn't get it anymore.
Of
Okay.
course.
Yeah, a lot of times we would, start a product, carrying a product that people were trying to get going, and once they get it going, well, then screw you, you don't order enough.
Oh, geez.
So NOS was a real popular one for mine until I couldn't get it anymore. But later, and still to this day, that Advocare Spark.
Oh yeah.
I don't drink coffee,
What
but
was that?
I got to have that. I got to have that Spark.
I've had
Advocare.
that before, Ken. It's
Spark.
pretty powerful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you take a double dose. Yeah, your teeth chat.
It does. It does. Her parents get a lot of that stuff.
No,
Yeah.
my dad was real big into that, and so he let me try it a few times,
Yeah.
and I like that
Yeah.
stuff too. It's
You take aspirin before you meet.
Usually, yeah, caffeine and aspirin.
Aspirin?
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always took 2 aspirin.
really.
Yeah, supposedly, it added 2% to your strength,
Yeah.
but
2% is a lot.
it is a lot.
Yeah, it is a
especially
lot.
for the numbers where you're
Yeah.
at. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So
Wait, ask the next question. I'm curious about this one.
All right. Have you suffered from any injuries in your powerlifting career? How did you recover from those injuries?
If you had any.
If you
in in powerlifting, I actually I've never had a serious injury lifting. All of my injuries came from playing, doing stupid stuff.
Yep.
And I was telling Ryan about that, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there because you know I've had 7 surgeries, 2 back surgeries, 3 hip surgeries, 2 knee surgeries. 5 of those surgeries are from botched surgeries. Okay?
That's scary.
I don't know how many people's listening out there, but man, stay out of the hospital. Medical error is the 3rd leading cause of death. And I honestly believe, they say cancer is number 2. Heart disease is number 1, always has been. But, they say cancer is number 2. But if you'll do some research, there's actually, some studies that show that medical error is number 2. Okay?
Really?
And if you don't believe me, okay, the bodybuilder, damn it, 7-time a Mr. Olympia. I was just doing a little research on him before we got on the show because I knew you was going to ask me. That he's from Dallas. Used to be the cop. What's his name?
Ronnie Coleman.
Right. Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman. Thank you. He had 18 surgeries by 2018.
Wow.
And 10 of them were back surgeries, both hips replaced. And I was reading an article earlier today, that he had made the comment on it. Most of his surgeries came from screwed up surgeries.
I did not know that.
That's insane.
I didn't know it either until I researched it today. I just knew that he was in worse shape than I am.
Very bad.
I wonder what. I wonder, and so I thank you for this show. I probably would have never researched it, but I knew that question was coming.
Okay.
And answer to your question is now there's things that you're going to pay for. I was telling Ryan this the other day. Later in life that you've done in the past that you don't know yet.
Yep.
Yes.
It's coming. And
Very true.
The average lifespan of an NFL lineman. Y'all know what it is? It's 55.
Really?
That sucks. And I don't care what they say. Now, we don't take the pounding to the head that they take, but what we do to our bodies is every bit, is hard on us as what those NFL linemen are taking on their hits and stuff out there. And, it's just, it's something that, all of us are going to have to pay for, down the road. He who lives longest wins.
Yeah.
So
I like that, Ken.
I do like I like that.
Time will tell, It catches up with
well,
you.
And as far as longevity in the sport, Ryan, I have to tell you, you're probably, what are you, 50?
I'm 50, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay. And you're still active, you're still rolling. I didn't really start I tore my first bicep at 44. And then 2 years later, 46, I tore the other. But again, it was playing, doing stupid stuff.
Of course.
And it wasn't training, didn't have anything to do with weights, but I didn't really start having problems till about 52. Okay. And they weren't bad problems. It was problems that I went to get surgery on to fix, which if I had to do over, I would have never done it.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Like I said, out of the 7 surgeries that I had, 2 of them I had to have, but the other 5 were from botched surgeries. So just keep that in mind. If you're in a car wreck and you're seriously injured, and you got to do what you got to do. If you can't walk, if you can't function, then you got to do what you got to do. Man, do everything you possibly can to stay out from under that knife, because I promise you this, it will never, I owned a rehab facility for years and years, and it will never be the same.
Right.
Right.
Where you get cut on, it's never going to be what
That's
it
what.
was.
Yeah. If they cut you open, it'll never be the same. I've heard that.
And on the spine, back surgery, the stats are 70% of the back surgeries end up having to have at least one more back surgery.
Yep.
Again, that's Ronnie Coleman. So. I've never talked with the guy, but I guarantee you he's on the same page.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right.
So go ahead, fire away.
Okay.
I'm not doing very good at marking.
Right here. You're on.
Yeah.
Outside.
That means that must be interesting, So
What's that?
I said that must mean I'm interesting.
Yes, you are.
Very.
If you're forgetting to mark them out.
I know, I'm so engrossed in the stories. No, you're doing a really nice job.
Yeah, I
Like
should
I
pay.
said, we love stories, so like
Yeah, well, I should be paying you for such compliments.
All right.
Outside of the gym.
Okay. All right, I'm marking it right now. Okay. Outside of the gym, what do you like to do? Like, what are some of your like your hobbies and things you enjoy outside of the gym?
Yeah, I got a lot of them, and I've had a lot that I've had to let go. But I used to love snow skiing. One of my favorite things to do. Can't do that anymore. Can't water ski anymore. As you age and have botched surgeries, these things that you love to do.
Uh,
You have to let a lot of them go. But
right.
I was an avid bow hunter for a long
Yep.
time.
Dang.
Had a high fence ranch that I raised animals on. I raised elk, whitetail, and axis for hunting, and which ruined me on hunting, by the way. But it was something that I really loved. Love the water, love the boat, love scuba diving, deep sea fishing, fishing in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to get on Polaris and ride these hills and stuff out here. It's just I'm still active, it's just not in the weightlifting area. So,
Are you sitting on some acreage out there where you can go out and ride and stuff?
here in Oklahoma, it's just, I've got more places to ride, a lot more places to ride here in Oklahoma than I did on my 1,100 acre ranch.
Really?
Wow. They've got, it's just a beautiful country, and they've got, over behind, they call it Disney, over behind the dam. I live on a huge lake, Grand Lake, and they've got all kinds of trails, hill climbing. So a bunch of them I'm not getting.
Right.
You can look at YouTube and watch some of those videos.
Okay.
And that I'm too old for that. Used to love horseback riding, but probably the worst wreck I ever had was on a horse.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get bucked off or?
I didn't get bucked off. It's a long story. I basically fell off.
Oh.
I was racing my son, and it's my fault. I hadn't girded up the saddle. I just thought we was going on the trail.
Boy.
But a horse gets, from 0 to 40, in like the first 5 steps.
Yeah.
And anyway, my saddle slid back and over to the side, and the horse I was riding was all go, no whoa. And anyway, I'm sitting here at full blast run on the side, so I try to, straighten the saddle up and shift it all my weight to the other side. And the horse, bless his heart, was trying to get under me at the same time.
Oh.
And so I went all the way off the other side, foot hung in a stirrup. I was weighing 290 back then, and I hit the ground at 40 miles an hour, right in my upper back.
Oh God!
And you talk about a hematoma. I looked like a camel.
Oh God!
Anyway, first thing I knew better when I got home, got in the shower.
Oh God!
Got in the hot water. I went down, laid face down on the bed. I didn't move, couldn't move for 3 days.
Oh gosh!
They come out with 4-wheelers and stuff. I kind of thought, that's the thing about a horse. I love them, but it's not a question of, if you're going to get hurt, it's when.
Yeah.
They're just you're a powerful man, Ryan, but dude, I'm telling you, a horse can outpull you.
I agree.
So strong, yeah.
My grandfather had horses, and they're powerful animals.
Sorry, buddy, you can't compare.
If they only knew how bad they really are,
Yeah.
I don't think no man would be breaking them.
No.
It's a good thing they got a brain size of a golf ball.
Right?
True.
Otherwise, we'd be in trouble, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I marked it so I can see right where I'm at here, guys. All right. What was your favorite moment in your powerlifting career?
Probably the favorite moment was that first super heavy record, 708. I wasn't sure. I told Ryan I was always pretty sure what I was going to be able to get at a meet. Mm-hmm. Of course, I wasn't as seasoned, at that first super heavyweight lift attempt, but I just didn't know for sure if I was going to be able, to get that lift or not. And but it turned out, and I got it, and probably that at that time was the heaviest lift in history. And,
oh wow!
You know how that feels, right?
Yes, sir.
You've had that lift a bunch of times, and it's it's I don't know. I don't know how you explain it. Ryan can come probably closer to because he's done it more. It, he probably comes closer to explaining what that feeling is than anybody. But that first time, that first time that you break the all-time record, it's. I mean, I know I will never forget. That I'll never forget that meet. The guys that were there, the guys that were spotting for me, and a bunch of my gym. It was in Longview, which was about a 6.5 hour drive. Much of my gym came, watched the meet. We just had a good time. So you go ahead and fire me another one.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No. Totally.
We were
Did
having
something happen to
having
your
some audio difficulties there.
I'm sorry.
It was
like
really
my
muffled
audio
for a second.
real
But now
I'm sorry.
it seems back to normal now.
Good.
There it
Okay,
is.
that's a little bit better.
Yeah,
sorry if we looked at
No,
like
no, no, no,
distract.
no.
All of a sudden, it got real muffled, and
Muffled.
I could barely. And I was trying to figure out if it was just mine or okay.
No, yeah, we're fine.
Okay, we're good. We're back in business here. Okay.
All right.
It was the weather.
Okay. What was your least favorite moment in your powerlifting career?
I love Gus Rethwich to death. I love the guy. I do. I mean, he's just Gus tries to do everything himself.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, he had all kinds of help at this meet, and but there was. I can't even remember all the events that went on. There was a bikini contest, there was a fitness contest, there was a bodybuilding contest, and that contest, this contest, and anyway, normal time for lifting, it's going to be somewhere between 11 and 1 o'clock. I timed my training around that very time. Now, you go to a different place or a different area, and Hawaii's one of them. You got a pretty big time change anyway.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is you peak, and we were talking about energy drinks, aspirin, and things like that we use, right before it's time for us to get ready to go do our thing.
Right.
And so, about 11 or 12 o'clock, I mean, I'm psyched. That's what I should call it, psyched. I've done got it mentally. I'm mentally prepared.
Right.
And I've taken my energy drink. I've taken my aspirin, and done the things that I need to do what I got to do. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't end up lifting until like 7 or 8 o'clock that night. And I'm telling you, I was spent. I was. I mean, it was like, man, I don't know what's going on. And it just, and it wasn't Gus's fault. I know he had some people there that were supposed to tell us what was going on.
Right.
And but I didn't break a record there. I did a good lift, but I didn't set a record at that meet.
Right.
And one of the few that I didn't. But that's there's another training technique for anybody that's listening out there. Try to get things as close to what you're used to at the meet that you're going to be at is what you're used to doing. And I mean, well, the greatest thing is lifting at the same time that you're used to lifting.
Right.
And I'm going to share a piece of advice from Ed Cohn, another good piece of advice.
Okay.
And I already shared this with Ryan before, but fly the day before the meet. If your meet is if you're in Seattle, your meet's in Hawaii, or it's over here in New York, okay, you are better off flying the day before the meet. You don't sleep anyway the night before. This is straight out of Ed Cohn's mouth.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I told him, I said, I don't know what it is. I go to Hawaii, and Ed told me, he said, man, I can't do my thing in Hawaii either. And but fly the day before the meet, get there, get your weigh-in done. You're not going to sleep anyway. You're going to get up the next morning. You're going to lift somewhere around 11 to 2 o'clock, and do your thing, and then take hopefully you've taken 3 or 4 extra days, and you can see the air do and you do that crap afterwards.
Yeah.
Hawaii, I was used to going 3 days, 4 days early.
Yeah.
Walking around seeing the owl, hula and all that nonsense, and then trying to go hit a meet, and then peaking for a time that I thought we were going to be lifting pretty close to, and I mean that was off by 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stay. Think about trying to stay socked for 8 hours.
It don't work, Ken.
No, it did not work for me.
No.
I don't think it worked for anybody.
No.
And again, it wasn't Gus's fault. Gus, and Gus is a great guy. Paid everybody's way. Paid everybody that had a possibility of setting a record.
Right.
He'd pay their way, pay their room,
Yeah.
and to get over there. I mean, it was bad for Gus too. So
Yeah.
I know Gus wasn't behind it, but
He did have too much on his plate, it sounded like.
well, and, he'll have 50 people working for him, and he's still trying to do everything himself.
He does.
Right?
It sounds like Gus. I know Gus well.
He
Doing too
just
much.
doesn't delegate well. Gus, I love you, but you need to learn to delegate. I mean, I haven't seen you in 30 some odd years, but
Friends.
yeah, you need to learn to delegate if you haven't yet. But I'm glad to hear he's still around. I really am.
It's funny you mentioned that because we usually bench press heavy on Tuesdays, and we have a meet coming up. The meet's on a Saturday, so this Saturday, a week out from the meet, they want to go in at 11 or 12 o'clock. No, they're coming in a little later, but around the time that they're going to bench at, so they synchronize their bodies to that Saturday time, and so that when you go to the meet, that's when they are lifting. So that's the theory behind changing their opening attempts to Saturday, a week before the meet. They like to do.
And that is a great idea. I didn't do anything the week before meet anyway.
Right.
I would, the week before, I would come in, warm up, do an opener, and that's it.
Yep.
7 days, I did absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So, it didn't really matter what day the meet was to me, but the timing,
Right.
was really important. And, that piece of advice that Ed Cohn gave me, about flying the day before and just getting it done. Or here's the other side of that story, like the trip to Italy, there was an 8-hour time difference.
Wow.
Take 1 hour, give 1 hour, 1 day for 1 hour.
Yep.
If it's an 8-hour time difference, then give it an 8-hour, give you an 8-day.
8 days
time.
per hour.
8 days there,
Okay.
before your meet, and you'll acclimate to that time change. And great piece of advice from Ed Cohn. Yeah. That took a long time to answer. I apologize.
That's all right.
No, like I said, I mean, so this is your show. You give us.
This is your show. I'm a guest.
It's your show, Kim.
Not tonight. Tonight it is your show. We are the co-stars. We are your co-stars. So
I think you're at the very bottom.
of this page.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. When you first started out, what lifters did you look up to?
Well, that earlier, like I told you, that my favorite guy, it was always Cass.
Yeah.
And I have respect,
Right, absolutely.
for all the lifters, but Cass was the one that, I always wanted. I'm going, yeah, I would like to be like that guy, and I would like to do what that guy did. And now, as far as people that I would listen to their advice, Robert Dyer again.
Yep.
I mean, he's one of those guys. When he speaks, you better be listening. Ken Adcock was another one.
Right.
He passed away way before his time. Those three guys, were always people that I could ask a question. I knew I was going to get an honest answer. And but probably Robert Dyer.
Okay.
I mean, if you're wanting something that you can take to the bank, I mean, and that's the guy.
Okay.
I mean, him and Ed Cohn. I mean, they're just like two peas in a pod.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
I like it. All right. What are your favorite accessory exercises for the bench?
that would be weighted dips, tricep push
Okay.
downs, flies. Those for sure. I really liked pullovers. Heavy pullovers. Those. I really think those improve your bench a lot. I don't know if you do them.
Where you
It's just you're down low and
lay down and
With the dumbbell?
I had a 180. I probably still got a scar somewhere.
Oh.
I had a 180 dumbbell, and I still remember. And I did have a training partner with me. Anyway, I come back a little short one. I mean, I just peeled the
Oh.
eye. You know, but that lift there, you know, so much of that lift, as I know you know, Ryan, comes out of your back.
Yep.
It comes out of your traps. Um, Also, if you got the more flexibility, you know, you've got in this area.
Yes,
I've always told people, I don't know if y'all can see
I
this.
can.
You know, I'm moving a foot here and never bending my elbow.
That's right.
Okay. And I'm stove up. All right. So, but I'm using traps, I'm using lats, you know, the things that come into play, you know, in a bench when you're doing it right, which I know you know what I'm talking
Yes, sir.
about. And those heavy pullovers, in my opinion, hit all those areas.
Okay.
You know, and that's just my opinion.
Okay.
I love the rows, the highlight rows and the cedar rows. They were great too. But you know, back's real important.
Yes, sir.
If you want a heavy bench, and I did do that lift on bench day, but there's a lot of pec, a lot of shoulders. I mean, just about, you know, there's a lot of muscles involved
Yes,
in a
sir.
heavy.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
Your
Great one.
your weighted dips, did you use a weight belt with a chain on it and then hang the weights?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Supposed to change.
Yeah, and it, you know, yeah, too heavy, you know, just like you. Yeah. That's one of them things when you're older, you know, and you're going, why is my wrist? You know, why is my wrist froze up? You know,
What happened?
you know what did I do? Well, it ain't nothing that you've done lately.
No.
It's something you did a long time ago.
All right. Any other? Are you ready for me to go on to the next?
Yeah,
Okay.
you go ahead. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. If I'm not yapping, you just go ahead. And keep.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. What do you do to get big forearms?
You know, forearms pretty much always came for me. Forearms is nothing that I trained, you know, for a meet. I did it in off season, and you know, the dumbbell twisties, you know, the dumbbell forearm, the
Yep.
reverse
Yep.
curls.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I did all of those things. That was the funny thing. I mean, I don't know how you were, Ryan, but after a meet, I mean, God, I didn't even want to see a weight room for a couple of weeks. You
Oh,
know, 'cause
really?
you're
Okay.
just freaking spent.
Spin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so I would take, you know, I'd go back into bodybuilding mode,
Yep.
you know, and that's when I would do, you know, a little bit of everything. I mean, you know, I mean, you name it, you know, I would do it, and I would have training partners on those days. You know, it was fun. You know, we could gab, we could BS, and that was fun. You know, when you weren't training with heavy weights, and you know, you weren't. My mental thing was probably, and I'm not talking about smarts. I was able to get things here that most people couldn't get.
Right.
And, you know, I was competing against guys that outweighed me 100 pounds, and
Wow.
my form and the mental part of it it was my biggest asset. You know, I mean, I could flip switches in here that a lot of people couldn't switch.
Right.
You know, and when and literally when my teeth were chattering, you know, and I couldn't talk because my voice would be shaking, or I might even be shedding a tear.
Okay.
I was ready to lift. Okay. You know, I mean, I didn't care if I lived or died. I know that sounds crazy. I know Ryan knows what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
sir.
I didn't care if I lived or died as long as I got that lift. Nothing else mattered, you know.
I can agree
And
with that, Ken.
that a lot of people don't get that. They go, man, you crazy. You're crazy.
It's
You
a
did that
competitive
kind of way
nature in us,
anyway,
man.
you know.
Right.
So, and I didn't have that right away. You know, that came later. When I would get too psyched like that, I'd screw my form all up. You know, I mean, it took time to be able to channel that energy. You know, and really, you know, to be honest with you, it was anger is what it was.
I agree.
You know, I'd push all those buttons of in make believe. You know, certain things have been done to me or my family or those that I loved. Okay, and I mean, you know, I was ready for murder when it came time to lift. And I know that sounds terrible,
No,
but
no, that's the kind
it's
of
just, I mean, that's just the way that I operated
absolutely.
back then. And, you know, I mean, I've always been known, I think, I tried my best, stay humble and be known as a good guy, but I was not the guy to come up and tap on the shoulder right before a lift.
No, nobody.
I was not that guy.
No.
But,
Not when you're in the zone like that. No.
No, and
I'm the
and
same way.
some people don't understand that, and I know a couple times, I bit some people's heads off and went back and apologized later.
Yeah.
Because that's not me at that time. If that was me, I'd have been in the pen a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I'd have killed somebody for something. And there was no, and that's what I'm talking about. At the Hawaii meet, you can't get in a zone like that and stay in that zone for 8 hours.
No, sir.
It
No
will
way.
wipe you out. It'll wipe you out.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like Forrest Gump. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. What was your favorite, most fun meet that you've done?
Again, that would have been the Italy.
Italy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it was just, the meet was fun for sure, but it was just the teaching. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, everybody likes, to have that kind of attention, and Italy give it to you. I mean, and it wasn't just me. I mean, I got a large part of it, because I was already a record holder coming in and actually set a record, but I think I was only got set a record at that meet, but God's grace, but it was, Italy really having a world record set, on their turf. That was a big thing for those guys.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with you. My Ukraine meet was probably the most fun, awesome meet that I've ever been to because of how they respect strength athletes. It was just shocking to me how you're treated over there and respected. Unreal.
Yeah. You ain't squat here, We're known all over the world, especially you're known all over the world, but it's a small group of people all over the world, and that really is a shame. And it's going to be that way. There was toward the end of my career, we all thought, this will be in the Olympics someday. And we actually, but the way things are now, guys, I just I don't see it happening for a lifetime. And not even yours, right?
No,
but
we talked about that in like 2000 era about powerlifting being in the Olympics, and look where we're at now. It's still not there. So
it's just it's until I don't know. I'm like that hungry baby in a topless bar. I'm so confused. I don't know. I don't know what you would do to fix it.
I don't either.
But it's not going to happen. Not in our lifetime.
No, for sure not.
Now, if it did, honestly, I think things would be different. And powerlifting, come on, man, it's a lot more entertaining than weightlifting. It is.
100%.
You're talking about pure strength. There's not so much technique involved, and I'm fine. Get away with all the gear. I don't care. But get the sport in the Olympics. Do what you got to do to get that done.
Yeah,
I've never understood. I mean, yeah, it's so much more fun than, so much more entertaining than weightlifting. Because, think about it. Like, so many more people can relate as they're watching squat, bench, and deadlift. Because, 95% of people have done it before, right? Yeah. Whereas weightlifting, not everybody does those lifts.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's and I respect the weightlifters. I really do.
Absolutely.
But they're not ever going to. They're not going to let powerlifting in if they can keep it from coming, because I honestly believe it will become obsolete. I believe powerlifting will become, the premier iron sport. That
they don't want that.
They do not want that.
No.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we're destroying ourselves. And I had wished I had an answer to the problem.
Yeah. Same here.
You have that torch, Ryan. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, and the characters. I mean, I was watching that Baddest Bench in America that we showcased and that you were in. There was a guy that came out in a wheelchair and then took his wheelchair and smashed it, and that was entertaining. John Edger, he was good at make that deadliest deadlift.
Actually, the meet where I broke that, did that 707.
Okay.
They had just set up a separate stage for bench. It was really a deadlift meet.
Wow.
They had the same IP, or they were IPF judges that judged, the bench that was judging the deadlift. But yeah, it was a show, and it was a packed house.
Yeah. They got people in there, asses
Yeah.
in seats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, what you got next?
Go ahead, girl.
All right.
We're gonna lose her. I think I'm boring her.
No.
Not at all. No, you're doing great. These are great stories. I'm loving it. What is something about you that would surprise everyone? Oh, I always like this one.
To bulk up, try chocolate chip Pillsbury cookie dough. It works. Yeah. The big roll. I'm talking the big roll.
Okay.
The heaviest I ever got up to was 320. Very unhealthy weight for me. But anytime I wanted to bulk up, or cut that Pillsbury cookie dough roll in half, put it in a big plate, put it in the microwave for a minute and a half or 2 minutes, and you got this huge cookie. Get you a big spoon and a glass of milk, and you have got 1-calorie condensed meal right there.
That sounds delicious.
I want to try that one time. I know it's not on my diet, but because Ken Lain did it once, I gotta try it.
Put more weight. And the thing about sugar, it's really all it is your insulin. Your pancreas just dumps insulin when you put that kind of sugar, into your system, so it makes you hungry. And the cookie dough. I mean, I like cookie dough anyway.
I do too.
Nobody should eat that much of it, but I would eat that much of it. And after being just a little bit sick for a little bit, then all of a sudden I'd have this, huge appetite.
Really?
And sugar, spikes that insulin. Insulin makes you hungry.
Yep.
It kind of works together.
Should you wash that cookie dough down with whole milk or?
Yeah, whole milk.
Okay.
I still drink whole milk. I drank whole milk when I was in bodybuilding.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Maybe that's why I was smooth. I like whole eggs and I like whole milk. I never did cut the yolks out, and I've drank skim milk, and I don't mind it if I'm trying to lose weight.
Yes.
On purpose, then I will go to skim.
Yeah, whole milk is creamy and delicious.
I like that.
Yes, and there is nothing like real cow milk. If you can get it, it's just the stuff you can make butter out of if you shake it.
Are you talking the milk right out of the cow, Ken?
Right out of the cow.
Really?
You like that?
Yeah. Have you ever drank it?
I did not like it, Ken. It was.
Isn't it like real?
See, that's what we used to drink when I was a kid. We lived on a farm, and my grandpa milked a cow every day, and we grew up on raw cow milk, and there's just nothing like it.
Really?
I guess I developed the taste for it, and everything's, they kill everything with that pasteurization thing.
Putting sugar in our milk and everything else.
True.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but yeah, that chalky yum.
Yes, sir.
Almost could chew it milk.
Yeah, it's really weird. I can't describe it. I'm not saying it was like disgusting. It was just, it's different. You're
used to, it's like used to when I drank a glass of iced tea, I'd put so much sugar in it. You could only absorb so much, and it would be an inch thick in the bottom.
Right.
And if you want to lose weight and keep it off long term, you change habits. And one of the habits that I changed was I quit drinking sweet tea, and now I can't stand it.
Oh.
It's weird how your body will change like that.
Yeah.
Somebody brings me a glass of sweet tea right now, I absolutely will almost regurgitate it up.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. But I will drink unsweet tea all day long. I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
I do too.
See, I've never been a huge fan of it. I'd rather.
Oh, in the summertime.
I know you love it.
Yeah.
All right. What gym did you train at? And what gym have you spent the most time training at? Like when you were setting your world records?
Well, I owned the gym for 35 years, So, the gym that I own, Power Shack.
Yep. I see it.
Power Shack. Nice.
It was, that's where I always trained. And it's the only gym, I ever did train. Of course, it was my gym.
Yeah.
And I was there already anyway. that give me some advantages.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Training in the same place all the time, but yeah, that's where I did all my training.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay. How long have you owned your gym?
35 years.
Did you say that?
I had
35 years.
I had a gym. That gym I owned for 30 years.
Okay.
Then I had two small gyms. One was in Snyder. That's when I was in bodybuilding, and one was in Colorado City. My hometown, and those weren't really to make a profit with. They were fun things, and I was a core engineer in the oil field. I was making good money. Needed the write off anyway.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd make money in the gym. But that's what I ended up, being my bread and butter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Do you sell those Power Shack shirts at all? Can anybody buy those or?
I'm sure you could probably still get them. I don't sell them anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, we liquidated my gym. I went through a painful divorce. That's part of growing up, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But, in 2017, we had to liquidate everything,
Yeah.
shut everything down, and that's how that went.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Were you coached by someone, or did you do all your own programming and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much on my own the whole thing. And I tried to again, Robert Dyer, Ken Adcock, they the 10-week program, they had kind of put that together. I had taken that, tweaked it, everybody that's used it's tweaked it to fit them. But as far as having a coach, and I did, I asked some people advice when I first started powerlifting, I called and, I said, hey, what kind of training program would you do? You're asking me?
Yeah.
I broke a record in a bench and you're asking me how to train? And I'm going, I just want your ideas.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I would get was complete nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
I had trained long enough to realize that, and I think that's the scourge of most lifters is they overtrain. It's not how much you do, it's the quality of what you do that matters.
I like that, Ken.
I mean, if you can fatigue your muscles, in 8 reps by doing them, I like a 2-2 or 2-4 rep, where you got a 2-second on the positive and a 4-second on the negative. You can really stress a muscle training like that. Now, it's opposite when you're powerlifting, everything's explosive. When you the real heavy weights, it don't look explosive, when you got that heavy weight, but yeah, I'll take quality over quantity any day. Except with food, I'd rather have quantity.
Quality, yes.
Yeah, no, quantity with food, quality in your training.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. I like that.
I like that.
Well, I just made that up. So.
No, it sounds like you've been saying it forever.
So, what were some of your did you ever play around with conjugate?
This was way earlier than.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? God, I thought that was so.
Ken's era was from '88 to about '93.
So, what kind?
Yeah, I think monohydrate, chondrite. Is that what you were asking me?
No, she's talking about conjugate training. Something on the West Side Barbell was.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My timelines are all
off.
Okay. All right.
The bottom.
It's crazy. I totally didn't realize that. Never mind.
Down here.
Okay. Well, I was gonna ask. All right. I had my own question, but I guess I'll move on. Can you tell us about your training leading up to a big bench only comp? Okay, that was kind of what I wanted to know. So, what kind of what was your training like leading up, peaking out?
Yeah, that's my same question.
Which is what I
Ken.
was trying to ask on that.
How did you peak for a big bench contest?
So, your reps and sets and
doubles.
Well, I would use the 10-week program. I started out at 55% projected max, and each week increase 5% after rep. y'all seen that matrix. I mean, it's everywhere out there. And I think a lot of guys used it.
People still use it.
Yeah. And I think even you know, tweaked it.
I prescribed it to some clients, and I've
I
seen
was
it
gonna
work
say, I think
firsthand.
that's the first one that you trained, like,
Yeah, I
you
put
wrote
her
for
on
me
that. Yeah.
when I first met you.
And that's the routine that I followed for
Okay.
meet. You know,
Okay.
and of course, my auxiliaries, you know, we talked about that weighted dips, flat
Yep.
flies, tricep push downs, those pullovers. I think were real important. But those were my favorite auxiliary exercises. My auxiliaries, I would stop. You know, when I got to triples, you know, I would cut auxiliaries out.
Okay.
And
Really?
and then, like I said, I cut my doubles out. It got to where the closer I got to the meet, the less I done,
Okay.
the better I was, you know. And, you know, we talked about that last time. There's not absolutely nothing you're going to be able to do that last week and a half before meet to improve your lift other than rest.
That's correct.
it.
Yeah,
That's correct.
that's what he always
You're
reminds
not
me.
going to add any strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you might reserve some, you know, if you can rest good. You know,
Exactly what I told her about
That's what
2
he
weeks ago
always tells
before
me.
the
Yeah,
Arnold.
yeah.
Yeah. She wanted to go heavy and wanted to do this. I go, you're not going to get any stronger, any faster 6 days out from the meet here. So
Yeah, he always reminds me of that.
I know a little bit.
Like, but I gotta do this and this, and he's like, "You're not gonna get any stronger, like, in these last 2 weeks." So, like, what? How many did you say? How many weeks out it was that you
Well,
dropped
you
tricks?
know,
Was that
really,
like
it was
week?
probably 9.
Okay.
The program I started out, and I started out doing 10s, but it included in week 9 you would do a double, you know,
Okay.
and that double was hurting me. You know, it was causing me to peak too early.
Okay.
You know, so I quit doing doubles, and I would stop. You know, at actually week 8, okay, was you know, triples. All right, and that's where I would stop it at, and then the next week I would come in and do warm up, do an opener, you know, which is whatever I could triple.
Okay.
Okay.
We'd do an opener, warm up, do an opener, and then for a week after that, I didn't do anything until I got to the meet.
Okay.
You
Yep.
know, and that worked best for me, you know, back then. And you know, during the off season, you know, it was more bodybuilding movements, which I think everybody needs to consider doing those, you know, because the muscles become stronger than the tendons. You know, the muscles get stronger faster than the tendons.
That's correct.
And
Yeah.
that's why you have a lot of folks tearing pecs. You know, seen a lot of pecs torn at 500 pounds. I don't know what it was about that 500-pound number,
Really?
but in my gym alone, you know, and really back in my time, we had. You know, which was unheard of. I mean, we had 7 people benching over 500 pounds.
Wow.
Wow.
In my gym, you know, and they were all using that, you know, that route. I mean, there was gyms in Dallas couldn't claim that, you know, and here we were in Little Abilene, and we had that many people, you know. I didn't have anybody pushing 6 at the time. I had a couple of guys that were real close.
That's impressive, Ken.
And were you?
5 years. Yeah, they were using my
They were
routine.
wow.
And yeah, I coached them. Yeah, you know, so
Very
know, but they we used to put on a meet every year, you know, and Jim Blakely, he flew down one time and competed in it.
Oh wow.
I don't know if y'all remember him
Yes,
or
I
not,
do.
but real nice guy. But he came down and competed in our meet, and but you know, people would come from Dallas, and I mean, for some, maybe it was because I was like Ryan Kennelly. You know, my name was known back then.
Absolutely.
And, you know, people would come in, you know, from all over. So, I mean, you know, if you were a 450 bencher, you might not place.
That's scary.
That's
unheard of. Yeah, well, it actually hurt the meet, you know, because when I first started throwing the meets, you know, they were packed, you know, and I mean, we'd have to have 4 or 5 flights, you know, we'd have that many people.
Wow.
And, but the word got out. Billy Whitaker, I don't know if y'all have ever heard that name. You know, he was a 220. He'd come in 220, sometime 242, but he was a 600 plus pitcher, you know, back in those days, and which was as a good, especially in that weight class, that was a badass bench, you know. And
absolutely.
I had a guy that was a 550 bencher, you know, and he would do the same thing. He could do 220 or 198, and every time he would go 220, and that was Billy Whitaker too. I'll take that back. He was 98s and 220s. he would decide to go into one meet because Billy Whitaker had hit that meet at that weight the last year. Billy Whitaker come in the same, and he's benching up there 550, and he's getting a second place trophy. It's just a hometown meet, it wasn't a qualifier for anything, but yeah, I had some good benchers.
Yeah, you did. Wow,
Dang,
I've never heard of a gym that
impressive.
has that many.
And
so many.
And even Dallas, and Dallas is huge. Dallas Fort Worth both. Nobody had that many 500 plus.
Wow.
Benchers.
No, that's crazy.
I'm sure they're a dime a dozen now.
Yeah.
But but back then, 400 pounds back in my day was a good bench press.
Absolutely.
You could take a 400 plus pound bench press and pretty much bank on placing, in your ordinary, meets, your hometown meets. I'm not talking about your championship meets or, national qualifiers or state qualifiers or things like that, but just a normal powerlifting meet. I don't care what class you were in. If you could bench in the 400s, you were going to come home with a trophy.
Yeah.
And, if you were in the fives, you probably were going to win your class.
Right,
you
right.
just got to take that to the bank.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For sure.
Do you keep in touch with any of those guys that were once in your gym? Now that social media is big, or do you see?
Yeah, I'm still friends.
Oh, good.
Yeah, a lot of them. I posted. I reposted your deal that you put on.
Oh, thank you.
Facebook. And I had a lot of guys reach out and hey man, it's about time you get back out there and say something or do something. Everybody's got your name. I'm going. I know. I said when they see me, they're not going to be associated with anybody. The last I had pictures in my office, at my gym, and I'll tell this story just because it's funny. But I had a lady come in, and of course we did rehab, and we had a DME business too. But I had a lady come in and was getting fitted, for a boot, and she had tore up an ankle real bad, and I was for a boot. And she had about probably 6-year-old little boy with her, and you've seen the picture of the Power Shack where I'm in the tank.
Yes, sir.
That's my most popular picture, or it's the one that's out there the most. But I had that frame, in my office. And anyway, this boy, and I had other pictures up there and stuff too, but this little boy, he's looking at those pictures, and his mom, she knew me, knew who I was, and she looked at the little boy and she says, "You know who that is?" And she was pointing at the picture. And the little boy, "No, I don't know who he is." She says, "That's him," and she pointed at me. Well, the little boy, he looks at me, he looks at the picture, looks at me, looks at the picture, turned to his mom and said, "What happened?" And I'm going, that's the closest I've ever come into killing a 6-year-old. Oh my God.
What happened?
Wow.
You're past your prime, when they're looking at your pictures, they can look at you and don't even know that it's
Kids,
you.
man, I tell you.
They're sharp as tack sometimes.
You talk about putting a little, needle in your ego.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They don't worry about feelings or anything.
No.
Absolutely not.
Funny. But it wasn't funny at the time.
I look back at I think it's hilarious. One thing about God's, He's going to keep you humble one way or the other.
Right. Okay. What are some of the most impressive, memorable feats of strength that you have witnessed for each of the lifts, but obviously, especially bench?
Squat, deadlift.
For squat, can you think for squat, bench, and deadlift, any of the most impressive feats of strength you've seen? It can be in meets, or it can be some crazy set you see, seen in the gym, just something that's always stood out. Like, damn, that was.
The most impressive thing, close to my time was probably Anthony Clark moving to the reverse grip, and I'm going to take part credit for that because Anthony had come and visited with me, spent 3 nights with me, and I didn't sleep for 3 nights because that guy could snore.
Oh yeah, like a chainsaw amplified.
Yeah. But I was, Anthony was a close grip bencher, up until that time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was, and I don't know if you find any videos, but it'll be. I mean, his pinkies, on the rough part of the bar. I mean, he was that narrow.
Really?
Wow.
He was a tricep bencher for sure, and I told him, I said, I mean, you got to get that grip out there because your elbows are going way too low. If your elbows are breaking parallel, you're going too low.
Right.
And of course, it's hard to tell where parallel was on Anthony, but he definitely was breaking parallel pretty bad. And I talked him into start working. Not a full index finger on the range to start out with, but just start working out and moving a finger at a time, to let him get used to it. But anyway, that's when he ended up, going, well, hey, you know what, I can do this. And he would reverse grip it and then get wide. So, I mean, he's decreasing the distance that he's having to push the bar, okay, by just moving his hands out that wide. And then his elbows, I don't even know if they hit parallel on Anthony.
Win-win here.
And that's why he was so good. And as far to my knowledge, there's never been anybody bench and set a record like that. Nobody's going to be able to do that but Anthony.
Yeah.
But he just kind of revised the wide grip technique and reversed his hands.
Right.
He was able to keep his triceps in it and decrease the distance that he was pushing that bar, and the rest is history.
Yep.
I mean, he run that number on up there pretty quick.
Yeah, he did.
So, okay. But that was, and then the guy I was telling Ryan, the records were changing hands so many times. There for a while, it was just hard to keep up with. I always remember Ryan. I remember Scott Mendelson. Ryan, you had to tell me his name.
Gene Richlack.
What's it?
Gene Richlack.
Yes, that's it. Thank you for that last name. Yeah, I remember you three guys.
Yep.
And y'all were swapping back and forth, and one would have anyway. It was just hard to keep up with,
Yep.
And they say, an alcoholic, you keep the alcohol away from alcoholic. I didn't keep up with it because, I was trying to stay out of it. I was coming up with other interests. It's hard not to want to get involved, if you're keeping up with something.
Right.
It would be hard, I'm sure, for an alcoholic if there was a bottle of whiskey, sitting around his desk all day long.
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
So I mean, when you decide to put those things down, and my advice, to lifters is, know when to quit.
Yeah.
And, quit before you have to. And that way you always got you've got your integrity, you've got your self-respect. You don't have to give anybody anything. That's up to you. And I'm talking to the few, like you, right? That have done your thing, and you have done things that nobody had ever done. World records, they're only borrowed, they're never owned.
That's right.
It doesn't matter how you run it. Somebody's going to come along and break it. I mean, that's what everybody's shooting at, And once you convince them that they're not going to break their neck doing a certain way, there's going to be those other guys out there, and gear's going to change, and athletes are going to get stronger, and that's just the way it's always been.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're seeing now. Human beings getting stronger and the gear changing, and it's kind of exciting time to see how things have excelled and where it's going.
Right. And but there just needs some unity, in the sport. And if some Joe Weider, that was the one thing that he was able to do for bodybuilding. I mean, if you weren't involved with Joe Weider, this is during my time.
Right.
If you weren't involved with Joe Weider, you weren't going to go anywhere.
Okay.
I met Jeff King and some other guy. Jeff King was Mr. Universe. This was the AAU side. Okay. They were just as big and just as bad as anybody else. But the IBF was Weider's pet toy. And NPC, was the small group, which is what I was competing in,
right.
Working. But if you weren't in that group, during that time, you absolutely were not going to go anywhere. And Jeff Magruder's a bench presser.
Yep.
I get them confused. Now I've done lost his name. Jeff was his name. He was Mr. Universe in AAU. Decided to go into IFBB, so he called Weider, and Weider was going to make him start out in the amateur classes.
Really?
Believe it, and work his way up.
Okay.
Of course, this guy was Mr. Universe. I mean, you talk about a slap in the face. But that's the kind of power that Weeder had.
Oh, wow.
Build it. And as bad as I hate to say it, we need somebody like that that can take powerlifting, and take it places. But it's probably going to be somebody like Joe Weeder that's going to have to be able to take control of it and actually control it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I don't know who that person is. It's sure not going to be me.
No, not me either, Ken.
No, for either of you guys.
So go ahead and fire out anything else you've got there.
Okay, we got several more. You got some over there too.
A couple. Continue.
I'm continuing. All right. What is the best advice lifting wise anyone has ever given to you, and who was that person?
I'm going to go back to Ed Cohn.
Love it.
On that fly the day before the meet.
Yep.
I mean, golly, he saved me. Woo! He saved me. You're supposed to learn as you go and learn your mistakes. I've already told you that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that was a mistake until he told me, And then all of a sudden, ding, yeah, I get it. But yeah, fly the day before you meet.
Okay.
If you, if you want to be at your best, fly the day before, or give yourself one day for every hour change.
Okay.
And that's good advice, guys. I
appreciate that.
You can take that from Ed Cohn. I'm just repeating.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good one. What are you doing?
Cleaning.
Okay. When you were prepping for your competitions, what did your diet look like?
Depending on which weight class I was in.
Okay.
At the 242s, I was having to eat like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So, but it was healthy. I will say that. Yeah. And of course, I made the weigh in at 242, but the actual meet I was 255, which gives you a huge advantage. Of course, I did that at 275 all the time. I'd end up competing 285, 290 in a 275 class.
Wow.
But I could drop. In case you don't know how to drop weight, this is something Ryan probably ain't never worried about. But a double dose of Lasix is 6 pounds, and a double dose of Exelax is another 6 pounds. There's your 12 pounds right there.
Whoa! All right, write that one down.
And if you've got 24 hours before weigh-in, okay. Well, it's a crappy way to do it. Yeah. It's very effective. But yeah, you can drop 12 pounds with just those two things. Okay. And then if you got more drop, you'd hit the sauna or whatever you need to do. But I never did any bloodletting. I know some guys that did, to make weight.
Oh, wow.
That scared me.
Yeah, I don't think that would be an advantage, really.
But you go 2 or 3 pints of blood, that's several.
Yeah. I haven't heard of that.
But, I don't know, Ryan, you've probably always competed super heavy, so it doesn't matter.
I wanted to compete at 308 at one time and set the world record, which I did at 1075, and I came down from 320.
Yeah, that's a division that right at the very end of my career that they come up with.
308 class, yeah.
It was 242, 275, and then super heavy.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So super heavy was it was that was a new class.
Yeah. Okay.
If got it. I got it. If you had the opportunity to go back and do it all over again, would you change anything? And if so, what would you change?
Well, I wouldn't. As far as training and the way that I trained and the way that I did things, I wouldn't change any of that. I do wish, like everybody, when I first started lifting, I went out trophy hunting and I had trophies everywhere. Of course, if you win a meet, and you win your division, and then they have an outstanding lifter. If you get that trophy too, you're taking home 2 trophies.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them are huge, and some of them are nice, some of them are not so nice. And I had some nice trophies, but I had a bunch of trophies, and I do wish I'd give those to kids.
Yeah.
Because when when you got a I know at John's meet, they would bring the kids in with wheelchairs and stuff, and I mean, these kids would just get so excited, watching. When I look back, most of them trophies, I don't even know where they are now.
Right.
You make a couple of moves, you lose them.
Oh yeah.
Most of them were in my gym. I changed locations three times, and every time I changed the location, I'd lose some, break some, and but I guarantee you, if you or I'd give one of them kids,
Oh gosh.
and it don't have to be a crippled kid, if you'd have given them one of them trophies, they would cherish that thing for the rest of their lives.
It's funny you bring that up, Ken. I have a lot of trophies.
Like, you should totally do that.
I got like 3-tier. I got a ton, Ken. And then you just gave me an idea.
Really cool old school.
They will remember you the rest of their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not telling you to do it for that.
No,
reason,
I want to do that. That sounds like a good.
It will pay you in so many ways.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a good idea.
Because I've done little things, for kids and stuff. Nothing that's big. And I'm talking at a meet. Walk down after you get the presentation of that trophy. Walk down to one of them little kids down there, especially if he's crippled or disabled, and hand that trophy to him and ask him, "Would you keep this for me?" Oh God, if I had a chance to do that, I would do it every time. And because I promise you, you want to live forever. Doing things like that's what's going to make you live forever. You may not be alive, but your memory, that kid and his kids, are never going to forget who you are.
You bring that up, Ken. I have, and I was thinking about that the other day. I have so many, like I have nowhere to store them here, and I don't want to throw them away.
Collecting dust up in his.
And now you
house.
gave me an idea, Ken, of one way I can give them away at meets or to.
I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I got so many ideas of what you could do, and you'll come up with your own.
Oh, that's great.
But those I promise you, and I mean, there's just so many, kids out there that and I don't want to, take the show into the little fiddle thing.
No, if you got
there's so many out there that are disabled or they come from bad homes. They've got such a, low self-esteem, and somebody like you, walking up and doing something like that. I mean, you just have no idea.
The
impact that could have on.
I appreciate you bringing that up because I have to do something with those, and I'm going to start spinning my wheels now on how to do something like that.
You know what? If you're like me, they're going to rust. They're going to break.
They're one step from the garbage, honestly.
They're one step from right. If you ain't got a huge house, I don't. When I liquidated my gym, got rid of my gym, went out of business, I didn't have another place to put all that nonsense.
Same here, Ken.
And I don't know where they are now. They're in a dump somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah,
there was some nice trophies, there's some I kept. Italy, I actually got a silver cup. I kept that one. I've still got it. I've got a silver cup from a bodybuilding show. I think I've got one other one. I've got some plaques and stuff. But them big, tall trophies, and them heavy concrete suckers, them cement things, I mean, I don't know where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea. But yeah. Anyway.
I like that idea.
I hope somebody puts that. I hope somebody out there really does put that to work.
No, we need to. We just got to figure out.
We all want them, when we first start lifting, we're all trophy hunting.
Yes.
And, but when you fill up a whole room.
And I have a whole room, Ken.
He does.
I do. It's no joke.
Yeah, I know you do.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't telling that story to get you to do that.
No, it's a good idea.
No, it's a great idea.
God using your heart to do that, then so be
it. It's my heart to do it, Ken. Hands down. Yeah, absolutely.
I promise you, you're going to get more reward out of that.
I agree.
Trophies.
I agree.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And just ask them to keep it for you. That's all. Hey, do you mind
keeping this for me? Yeah.
We ain't got no place to put it. They will take that sucker.
Oh, kids love trophies, medals.
Oh,
I mean, they totally
will be their prized possession for a while.
Oh, it's just a matter of figuring out
awesome.
Who and which one.
You'll probably see a video of it when it does happen, Ken, and I'll.
You know what? And I'm not saying doing it.
No,
I'm not saying do it for that reason, but you will. I mean, if people see you doing that, they're going to say, you know what, that's a good guy. I mean, that's a guy that cares about somebody besides himself.
Yeah.
Because we got enough of those out there.
Oh, plenty.
For
Plenty.
real. You ain't
It's
playing.
it's
No.
I mean, it helps the whole sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about, just you. I mean, I'm going to shut up about it, but I promise
No.
the rewards will be way over.
I agree with you, Ken. Thank you.
I mean, I've done things, through my church and stuff like that with kids. That's what made me think, God, I wish I'd have done that back.
Yeah.
When I was getting those things. So
Yeah.
No, that's a great idea.
if you do that, bless your heart. But I promise you, you're going to get more blessing out of it than giving away.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no,
I guarantee you are.
It's done.
what a great way to, because I always think of that from time to time, like, because he's got some really cool ones, and we don't even get to see them because they're at his old house in Moses Lake, that he was telling you about. So we don't even see him. We don't even see him. Like,
and I had mine in a storage room. I mean, nobody got to see them.
like
When I first started, I put them out in the gym, and my gym was huge.
Yeah.
But they took up too much space in the gym.
Yeah, I know the problem.
Collecting cobwebs and stuff.
Mine are doing that right now.
Yeah.
Kick them, or they'd knock them over and break a wing off.
Right.
Yeah.
It just. But I guarantee you, if a kid had that. That sucker wouldn't get broken.
And a picture of me, maybe next week.
Exactly.
So when he grows up, and
especially if you can get a picture taken of you with the trophy with that kid, I guarantee you, that kid will have it when his grandkids will end up.
Probably.
Awesome. In the next 50 years, right, as an adult.
Yeah. If you
Seriously.
really want to, if you know longevity, that's the kind of things we need to be doing. I mean, it's and when I say we, I'm not telling anybody what they should do. I'm just telling you what I wish I had done.
Yeah, no, I love it. Love it. You just gave us a brilliant idea. Thank you.
I'm tickled. At least tonight wasn't a total waste for you guys.
No, Ken.
Get out of here. No, it's been wonderful, but I really do love that idea. Okay, so I have just one more question, and then I'll let Ryan take over with some of his here. What advice can you offer new lifters that are just starting out?
Well,
and that can be more than one piece of advice. Give us what you got, man. Give us some secrets here, right?
Just starting out, go slow.
Okay.
Don't quit. Once you learn to quit, it becomes a habit. Winning becomes a habit. Okay, and the sad thing is, losing does as well, or quitting does as well. I'm talking about new lifters coming out, and peaking out, and you may set your goals for a 350 max or a 400 max. If you don't hit it the first time, stay at it. That's the main piece of advice that I'd give somebody new starting out. And for the older lifters, I've already said it. Know when to get out. Know when to put the belt up. And I respect, and there's very, very few, boxers that, retired undefeated. They always got to come back.
Yep.
They always got to come back. They end up getting their butts beat totally off, humiliated, before they actually retire. And there's really no need of that. I mean, and then that's just my advice. Listen to your body, and just learn from your mistakes and listen. Listen to your body. It's not what somebody else is telling you to do, or because you're going to get advice from everybody.
Absolutely.
And,
of course.
Just learn what works for you and stick with it. And if you miss a goal, back up and you know what? Perseverance. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. It was the snail perseverance that got him to the ark, if you think about it.
Right.
I mean, come on. I'm sure he was the last guy to
Get
get
on.
there.
Right, right.
To get there, So yeah, I mean, you'll get there. You'll hit your goals. Make them, make them attainable. To start
Yeah.
out with. I mean, I'm
Realistic.
talking whatever your max is now. Go for 10% at a time,
Yeah.
something along that range, and continue to do that, and be humble, man. I mean, nobody likes a jerk. And I know sometimes you get a misload. I've had 2 misloads in my lifting career, to where that's my spotter's job, by the way, make sure I don't have a misload. But where I actually got under the bar and it was misloaded, and that can tend to, really make you pop a cork.
Yes, it will.
And
Yes.
this, it's not going to help anything. It's not going to change anything. But here's the thing, guys. Uh, People won't remember all the good that you do, in your lifetime. They won't remember all the good that you do. But you do one thing bad, okay? They're going to remember that forever.
I understand that, Ken.
Absolutely.
That's correct.
So true.
And they're watching you, especially when you get up into the league class. They're watching what you're doing and how you react to certain situations. And you make one screw up. What's that joke? I can't even say it on here. Luigi, the bridge builder. I build a bridge all over the world. I build a bridge. I'm known for building the bridge. You play with one pecker and everybody hates you forever. Like that. But you do one thing, stupid, and that seems to be the thing that people remember.
And that's sad.
Totally.
So just be careful.
Okay.
I mean, you can take what I know, put it in the thimble, and shake it around, but you're welcome to it.
Yeah.
So.
Love it. Love it. I like that.
All right, Ken, I just got a few ones here that I wrote down throughout the day. Just
Yes, sir.
pretty basic ones. The day you benched 722, what were your other attempts from that day?
Let's see. Oh, yeah. 755. That was my opener. See, I got cocky, there towards the end. Wasn't no need going to a meet if you didn't break a record anyway. So I would open with a world record.
You opened with 722?
I opened with 722.
Damn, Ken.
And then I went for 755 for my second attempt. And I think I told you I got I got a bad handoff. I was taking it out of the racks, your art stuff, and I got a bad handoff. I was trying to do a 755-pound pullover.
Oh my
God! I told you I like them.
Yeah, but no, 755. No.
Jeez.
Anyway, hindsight's 2020. You always, when it's all over with, you go, I shoulda. But I shoulda put it back and just got up and canceled that lift. It was only my second attempt, and I mean, I had a third and fourth if I wanted it.
Oh, wow.
And looking back, that's what I should have done. But after spending all that energy trying to pull the thing over,
just drained you.
I got up, looked at my spotter. I didn't call him any bad names, but he could tell by the way I looked at him that he knew he had messed up bad. And so he comes back, he gets it on out there where he's supposed to. And anyway, I would have got the lift, but I was pushing with my legs like you always do. And they had this flooring on there. I'm not going to say it was slick, but it was slicker than what I was used to. And my right leg shot out from under me. As soon as it did, I lost everything. And in my third attempt at it, I had spent too much time.
I understand.
Oh, absolutely.
My plan, they actually had it on the bench. This was a Richie Creevy meet, by the way, in California that he put on. And they actually had a bench made, Ken Lain, 800 pounds, because I knew I was going to get the 755 because I'd gotten a 765 in the gym, so I knew it was there.
Right.
And then I was going to attempt 8, and I probably wouldn't have got it, but I'd have given it a real
hell of a ride.
Right.
It would have got a lot of, the write up it would have got of all
yes,
people.
Sir.
To actually bench 8, right here. So, what it would have done. So that was my plan.
Okay.
But, yeah. Anyway.
Okay. How did you and John Inzer meet? I know he sponsored you, and how did you guys connect up?
Yeah, as one of them, I just hitting meets,
Right.
and I wasn't wearing a shirt. I wasn't wearing no shirt.
Okay, so
And they had this new organization, believe it or not. A while ago I was just telling you there were a few, but they had the WBC, the World Bench Press Conference.
that sounds cool.
That is
That was the name of this individual that sanctioned the meet, or the individual organization that sanctioned the meet. And I did a 585, no shirt, no gear. Did a 585 lift, just dummy, going out there picking my nose, acting silly. And Inzer come up and he said, "Hey, I want you to try this shirt. I'll give it to you."
Oh, good.
And
Good marketing here.
Okay. So and it was a world record in that WBC organization at that time. And anyway, that's how I got met, John, and that's how I got started wearing the Inzer bench shirt.
Oh, cool.
And it just kind of grew from there, because it wasn't long after, and I'm talking just a single ply bench shirt that I did the 644 and the 55 and at the 275 class, and that's how I met him. And then I did find out, by the way, at that same meet, I had a little bit of back pain, because I was bridging without a belt.
Okay.
Didn't even wear no wrist wraps, And I decided after that meet, those guys are wearing that gear for a reason. Right. So I started wearing gear. Yeah, and it definitely makes a difference.
Okay.
Especially the wrist wrap.
Absolutely.
Especially a bench shirt. All of it.
Yeah.
The belt, you wear it for a reason.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So. What's the most weight you've had in your hands in training or on the platform?
In training, in the gym, I did a 765. Okay. Yeah, that was I was telling you about that a while ago. Yeah, you always leave your best lift in the gym. Yeah, that's why I was so confident in the 755.
Okay.
It just didn't work out.
I understand. During a bench meet, do you use one bench shirt for all attempts, or as the weight gets heavier, do you switch into a smaller shirt?
No, never tried that. I wore the same thing the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you do anything special to increase your ability to arch your upper back or lower back?
Good question. Now, I'm going to tell you this, but I'm not going to tell you it's healthy.
Okay.
4-inch PVC pipe, put it under your back, roll on that sucker. Did you do that?
4-inch PVC pipe, and I still preach it to this day. When guys are at home watching TV, get off the lazy boy, get that 4-inch roller under your back, and start contorting that lower lumbar.
I was just doing that the other day.
You're going to pay for that one of these days, brother. I love you to death.
I know.
I think that bridge, I think, was the start of my back problem, my low back. Of course, I had some stenosis going on down there too. Yeah. But, there was too much of a curve in that low spine.
I'm paying for it too myself, Ken.
Well, and you'll pay more. I hate to tell you that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, stick with what you're doing, but
I know what upsets it, and I know what not to do.
Maybe start going for longevity now. He who lives longest. It ain't the one with the most toys. It's the one that lives longest that wins.
Yeah, a barbell on my back, it just doesn't do it for my lower back anymore. I have to do leg press and different machines now, and I got to take care of number one here, man.
Let me tell you this, and I know it stinks. I don't even use free weights anymore. I do machines.
Understand.
And it's and used to all I did was free weights, but except maybe some back stuff. But nowadays, I do the machines. I'm after longevity. I do cardio religiously. I think that's the most important thing, and or it is for me.
No, it absolutely is.
Trying to maintain some strength.
Yeah.
Bone density as I age.
Bone density, yes, sir.
Because ain't nobody going to have the bone density that you had when you were pushing the weights you had. The chiropractor took an X-ray of my collarbone one time. He nearly passed out.
Oh, really?
What did he say?
Well, he showed me some other collarbones, or clavicles, whatever you want to call them. of normal people, and it was, I mean, there was a huge, the body adjusts to the stress that you
Yeah,
put
the
on,
demand
especially.
placed upon it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I'd ever broke my clavicle, I would have died of shock.
Ah.
It was huge.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it looked like a femur.
Did it really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was. But I mean, up beside those other X-rays,
okay.
and I guarantee you, yours was the same way or more. Because I mean, the weight that and did you do the shoulder roll? I mean, I don't know about the new gear. Were you able to do that? Were you able to pull your shoulders up to your ears like that? I don't know if you.
I had flexibility because I had an open back shirt, so I was free and.
Okay.
Yeah.
That there's just so much. If you're just trying to push a bar from A to B straight up, that's one thing.
Right.
But pushing it up and back, when I would fold I call it a shoulder roll. When I fold the shoulders up, okay, and when I showed you a while ago about this
Yes.
moving the arm, a foot, that's what that is. That's rolling them shoulders
Okay.
up, okay, and it changes your groove. You're not only when you fold them up, you're coming down and you're hitting, hit about your sternum,
Yes.
and then when you finish, you're over your mouth or so.
Yeah. Push
So
back.
you're not only pushing up, but you're pushing back at the same time. It's giving you leverage on that weight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, instead of just pushing it straight, because that's where a lot of people will freeze up or lock. They won't be able to lock
Right.
out. But if you've got that movement going where you're pushing up and back at the same
It continues
time,
to move.
a moving weight. I may not get this right, but like if you say 400 pounds, okay, and you stall at 400, then it's going to take like 410, 420 of pressure to get that bar to moving again.
Okay.
I believe that. I mean, a stalled weight is a lot harder to move than one that's already moving.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, that's something that that I was able to do. I know my form. My form was just a lot better. I wasn't as strong as a lot of those guys I lifted with or lifted against. I wasn't as strong as Michael. I wasn't as strong as Anthony Clark, but my form was a lot better. And then my mental, I don't know if that's healthy or not, but that's where I was able to better them.
Gotcha.
Was in my form, in that mental attitude, that that zone that I would get in.
Right.
Yeah.
But because they were stronger than me, a lot of those guys. Sam Semenego definitely was stronger than me, but he just couldn't bench like I could bench.
Right.
So I mean, heck, I went out and hit a golf ball one time, hard as I could hit it. It went out about 30 feet and fell, and everybody ran. They taught me to come on, Ken, it's for the kids. It was a celebrities golf tournament.
Okay.
And they had Bum Phillips, Terry Bradshaw,
Oh, wow.
Earl Campbell. I'm talking real celebrities,
Gotcha.
And this was a golf game in Abilene, and I said, I don't play golf. Oh, come on, Ken, it's for the kids. It's for the kids. Here's another thing I did for the kids. Of course, anyway, I'm not a golfer, and I said, oh, okay. They finally taught me into it. It was a 4-man scramble. And what people done was paid $500 for a chance to get to play with one of these real celebrities, And when I say real celebrities, I mean I was a celebrity in a small group of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about here. And the gold medalist pole vaulter lived in Abilene at that time from 1980. Billy Olson was his name. They talked him into it too. But at least he was a golfer. But anyway, when we got ready to tee off, I'd went out the day before and I'd hit 2 buckets of balls, which was 50 balls per bucket. And I woke up the next morning, dude, and I was still training back in those days, with the weights. I woke up the next day sore in places I didn't know I had.
I've witnessed that. Yeah.
Hitting a golf ball.
Yeah. Driving golf balls, a bucket the next day, sore in muscles I didn't even know I had.
I didn't even know I had. So I get up there to the real meat.
Oh,
okay.
geez.
With Terry Bradshaw and all the big celebrities, okay, and all the TV stations, they've all got the cameras on me and stuff, because everybody tees off, from the same place. And I did. And I even said a prayer. I said, God, please let me get a good hit on this one. And man, my obliques was sore. I mean, I was just sore places I didn't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I hit that bar. I hit it with everything I had. And it went plumb out of sight.
Oh.
Straight up in the air.
Oh.
Wow.
It landed out there, like I said, about 30 feet. The whole crowd was laughing.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my God. I can't believe they talked me into this. Yeah, that goes back to playing another man's game.
Yeah.
You remember, we talked about that earlier. You just don't do
You
that.
don't do it, no.
Yeah, but I'm sorry about being so long-winded.
Oh,
No,
no,
it
we
doesn't
love it.
I'm eating this up, Ken. I'm really am.
No, we love it.
They got me on that one. I can't believe I let them talk me into that.
That sounds, I mean.
But go ahead, Ryan.
I am out of questions. We're going to move to our chat box now. And Ashley, you want to read anything over here?
Yeah, of course.
Particularly for Ken, hopefully. I mean, we shouldn't answer our own questions. It's actually Ken's show, so let's
Okay. So we had some just saying hi.
Yeah,
Where's the first one? A couple of people that thank you to the people that congratulated me. I appreciate that. Let's see. Where's the first one? My eyes are bugging me. Can you point to the ones that are? I
will just shoot at let's see. Blue Lagoon is talking about this Russian guy named Alexander Yulanov. He is a little man, 5'6", but he is strong. Okay, I don't know if that name rings a bell. I don't know.
Is that somebody that you have heard of?
I don't know. And of course, I'm not going to be near as up.
Yeah.
The current lifters is what you guys.
I haven't heard of. I'm not familiar with this.
Here, Ben Adams has a question
for both of you guys.
I'm not going to answer it, but I'm going to let you answer it, Ken. It's
how much did bulking improve your bench press?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's a great one.
Mass increases leverage.
Yes,
it just does. And but for me, and I told Ryan this, heaviest I ever got was 320. That's the heaviest I ever was. But the difference in my strength from say 300 to 320, it just wasn't that much.
Oh.
It maybe, of course, when I say not much, I'm going to say maybe 10 pounds, maybe 15, maybe. It wasn't that much more than for me, from like a 305 or 308 body weight, that extra 15 pounds just didn't have that much for me. Now, the difference between is you can take my records. My best lift at 242 was 655.
Yep.
Okay? My best lift at 275 was 700. My best lift at super heavyweight was 722. And it should have been higher than that.
Yeah.
But, I've done told that story. But if that kind of give you an idea on how Buck will help you,
right.
There's my numbers in 3 different weight classes.
Okay.
Oh. Do you have anything to add?
I'm not going to talk about me. It's about Ken tonight. I can talk about this stuff next week when we have a normal show.
I mean, I think if you say you guys can kind of be making the same.
I don't want to talk because I ramble and it's Ken's time right now. I'm sorry.
You talk about ramble. I'm the one that'll ramble.
It's your show, Ken. That's right.
This is your show.
I told y'all I'd have to slap me. It's
you're supposed to.
I'm y'all's guest.
No, this is your show. You're supposed to.
All right, I'm going to read one from Terry Conjugate Iron. He says, awesome receiving knowledge from Mr. Lain and hearing his story. This man is a legend. That's from Terry Conjugate Iron.
To ask him where I send the check.
Terry, where does he send the check?
I have to pay for compliments like that. Come on. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Okay. This guy's handle on
this one's so his handle is so rusty. He says, Ken Lain, no way. So it sounds like he's excited. A lot of these came in at the beginning. So I think when he saw you were first on, he was real excited to see you were on.
And he has a question here.
He says, it's not a question.
Oh, not a question.
He says, I remember hitting my first 215 kilogram bench running Ken Ken Lain's Matrix program. This is really awesome to see live.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm glad we entertained, somebody. Thank
yeah,
you.
so it
Thank
sounds
you.
like
Thank you for that comment. And, man, I'm glad that program worked for
that's
you. I really,
awesome.
yeah, that is awesome.
Very
Yeah.
cool, very cool. How much is 215 in kilograms? Anybody know?
Times
Uh,
2.2.
430 plus 10%.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
much is it?
I'm not Rain Man. I can't do numbers in my head.
I know.
475. Yeah, it's not bad, bitch, man.
Damn. Yeah. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Um, our buddy One Rep Max says, that's his handle, is One Rep Max. Says fucking legend.
FAQ.
Talking about you, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, bless you. Again, I'm gonna have to write a bunch of checks, on the compliments that I'm getting because I just don't get them anymore. They're going, "Hey, what happened to your hair?"
What? No,
No.
not on this channel, dude. Not with this
you,
audience.
you look like a Q-tip. That's what,
No.
that's what my daughter told me that one time. I said, "Dad, you look like a Q-tip out there on the lake." You know,
Back to kids are great, aren't they?
they're too honest. That's what they are.
Here's a question from a handle by the name of Flying In and Out. He says it seemed like there was some bad blood with Arcidi back in the day. Anything to that?
No, not really.
Okay.
Ted was Ted would have a 705 world
Yep.
bench press
Yep.
record. And he said it with a bench shirt, and he said it. I think it was Hawaii.
Yep.
Is where he set that record. And Ted and I were competitors.
Yeah.
I broke the record. He come back. Well, I broke it 3 times. He came back, broke it. I went back, broke it again. Yep. No, I like Ted. I mean, he became a shirt hater later. But even though he said his record was a shirt,
Yeah.
he wanted me to go head to head with him, with no shirt. And first we had a meet. We were supposed to win head to head. It was Budweiser was supposed to be sponsoring it in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And that meet fell through.
Yeah.
And so we never got to meet there on that one. But that's like again, why? I've got the record. Why do I want to play your game?
Yeah.
I just played golf a while ago and got my butt kicked. If I'm not used to going to competition, and the competitions are allowing shirts, then why should I, just because you want to go, raw, why should I do that?
Yeah.
What's that for me? I mean, get you a shirt and let's go. You set yours that way, I set mine that way. So we had that kind of, we had that kind of back and forth. But as far as bad blood, there was no bad blood. It was good for the sport, actually, guys. It really was, because Weeder was involved, with this. And he was putting a lot of stuff in his magazines. It got a lot of magazine coverage, and it gave powerlifting. It really did. It gave powerlifting a boost.
Oh, good.
A lot of people got interested in powerlifting on account of that rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
It's better to have a rival out there than to just be the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
More people are interested.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Alex Estrada, this is a trip down memory lane here. You want to read that one, or you want me to?
Well,
Big Ken.
I was there when they misloaded the bar at the Malibu Classic in 1991, and you nearly locked it out.
What weight was that, Ken?
It was that was a 240. I think it was the 242. Which one was it? Remember, it depends on which one. They misloaded me at the both in California. They misloaded me on the 242 record attempt, and they did misload me on here's a full plate. I don't know what that was. It was a Banco plates, but they had a whole entire of the plate on one side. It wasn't on the other.
Holy cow!
So, I don't know why. I don't know what it weighed, but it was as soon as I got up and looked at the bar, I could see it. But both times I had misloads were in Hawaii.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not Hawaii. Dadgummit.
California.
I'm close. From
Close.
Oklahoma.
That is great. That's a huge misload. That's not just it's not just a couple pounds. Dang.
No, because both of them, when it would do this and then it went this.
Oh, that's scary, Ken.
Oh,
That's a bad misload.
Yes, it
that's
is.
bad. Yeah.
Very dangerous.
Golly. Glad you didn't get hurt. Too bad.
Read that one.
The Barbell Athletic Club. You may have mentioned this earlier. What was your biggest equipped bench? 700 and your best raw bench.
What was the question again?
Sorry, I've been losing my
Let me talk
voice.
here.
No.
You may have mentioned this earlier, but what was your biggest equipped bench?
Oh, okay. Now I know what exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In the gym, my best equipped bench was 765.
Oh, wow.
The raw bench was at a meet, 585. At one of my one of those. That's when I started. After the 585 was when I started wearing the shirt.
Oh,
so
okay.
585 would have been my heaviest, raw lift. And after that, I started wearing shirts on the heavy side. Now, I was close to, I'd be close to those numbers, training without the shirt when I was training for a real heavy bench.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd be without the shirts, on 550s, 560s, for reps. But my best, and I don't know, there's probably been a lot of people beat this. And they actually did an article on it. I did 405 for 20 reps, and I've done 405 for 25. But I've done 405 for 20 good reps.
Wow.
The 25, the last 5 were a little sloppy. But anyway, that's for people there's an article on that way back. Somewhere. But,
Damn, Ken. Damn.
And I mean, that's no gear,
Yeah.
I mean, that's, but I didn't think anything at the time. Wasn't no big deal. Wouldn't be nothing for Ryan. But, they talk about the 225 bench, in the Columbine and stuff. And, but 405, that's 4 plates. And, I was good for 20 any day. My best was 25. And again, those last few might have been a little sloppy.
That's all right.
Well, dude, the fatigue at that point, geez.
We got it.
That's incredible, man. I can't remember.
Alex Estrada.
Big Ken, people need to know you are the only man to hold all 3 heavyweight world records at the same time.
Well, that's true, and all records fall, but that one might last a while, especially with guys getting so big now. I'm not too concerned about, these super heavy weights today dieting down to 242,
right.
And then still being able to hit that record, before somebody else breaks that sucker, one of your other ones. I mean, that's probably the only record. And thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that up, Alex, because to me, that's the only feat that I did that may still stand. Is having those 3 heavyweight classes simultaneously. I appreciate that. Appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it up. That's definitely worth mentioning. Definitely.
Alex,
That's
there's
incredible.
another question. This is kind of cool, and I was going to ask this one.
Big Ken, did you ever compete against Arcidi at the same meet?
No. We had, like I said, I was telling you guys earlier, we were supposed to go head to head in Las Vegas. I mean, it was built up.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of magazine coverage on it, but one of the sponsors pulled out on it.
Yep.
Budweiser was supposed to be one of the big sponsors, but some sponsor pulled out on it, and then they canceled the meet. And it was like 4 weeks before the meet was supposed to take place. Yeah, so the meet got canceled.
Oh,
wow.
So to answer your question, no, we never did. We were training to do so, but it never happened.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's like all the questions we have in the chat box
There
at
was
this
one,
time.
but it got retracted.
Yeah.
But we still got people watching. So
Well,
if you have any more, it's been really fun. You got a lot of good stories. Oh, Big Ken, other than Arcidi, who was your next rival? Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. Probably Anthony Clark.
Yeah.
Anthony Clark always had. Anthony was dangerous. Anthony always had the ability, to beat me at a meet, and we competed at some meets, against one another. He was one of those guys that was capable.
Yeah.
And he proved that later. But one thing I had on Anthony, like I said earlier, my form was a lot better than Anthony's, and Anthony was very easily. How do I put this? He was easily knocked off his game.
Oh, getting into his head, like type of thing.
Yeah, he was. I mean, you didn't have to try to get in his head. You could get in his head.
Really?
You would get in his head without you even trying.
Oh, really?
Of course, Anthony was younger than me.
Yeah.
And Anthony had a huge amount of respect for me, and I did Anthony too. Anthony, I was scared of Anthony. Anthony just didn't know that. He was always capable. And then you never, know who's going to show up at a meet. And I've always, and even to this day, right now, there is some farm boy probably out there in Ohio that would be the world powerlifting champ, period, if he only knew how strong he was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those guys are out there that, they're sleeping and they don't even know.
That's right.
I met some of them when I was in the oil field. Rufus Parks, was a guy that weighed 370 pounds, 6'4", and he never trained with weights, but he looked like he did.
Yeah.
But some of the things that I'm talking big iron, he could only pick it up because he didn't know what it weighed. If he would have known, he wouldn't have been able to pick it up. But anyway, yeah, there's always somebody out there that always, that is capable of doing things that they don't know. They're not even aware.
Right.
I guess that's a good thing for us.
Yeah. If they knew, they'd be out and they'd be the next best thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They would push us further than what we want to be pushed.
Right.
Yeah. So for sure.
All right.
Is there anybody other than like Arcidi and Clark? Are there any other big rivals?
Arcidi, Arcidi wasn't even competing until I broke his record.
Okay.
And he got his feelings hurt on that, which I understand. But he and I never went head to head. People tried to put meets together, but like I say, the big one. And matter of fact, there was even going to be some money involved for me and him on that meet, supposedly. And which they can't really pay you cash. There's things they could do for you otherwise, or you lose your amateur status.
Yeah.
And at this point, as far as I know, we don't have a professional status in powerlifting. But Arcidi, but Clark was the one. I knew Clark was going to end up owning that record sooner or later. Yeah. If he didn't die.
Yeah.
And I always worried about that on Anthony because he was carrying a lot of mass.
Yes, he was.
He was having difficulty breathing, and his eyes were matted up. And he was one of those guys that was just lovable. You liked him. You wanted him.
Just super nice
that's
guy.
what Ryan always says, for sure.
I hate that for him, but I know what happened to him. And on the elite lifters out there, there's always another meet. Don't let them kill you.
Yes.
I told Matt Mendelson that.
He doesn't take advice very well.
Matt Mendelson, he looked at me and he said, man, I'm my own man. He says, but I know exactly what you're talking about. He said, I seen what they done to Anthony Clark. That's what
Mendelson said.
That's what Mendelson told me. And but they will, you elite lifters out there. Those meat promoters don't really care about you guys. They care about promoting their meat. They care about putting seats or butts in those seats. And you're just a commodity that they're out there to use. Just remember, there's always going to be another meet. Do your thing.
Yes.
Don't do a back-to-back, heavy training cycle. It's give yourself a chance to rest and recuperate, and you're going to have a lot longer career if you do that.
Did you ever cross paths with Craig Tokarski?
Let's see.
Chicago. I think he's a policeman.
Talked on the phone. I know he did.
I tried to get him on the show, but it fell through.
Did he? Well, I mean, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Craig Tukarski.
Okay.
Yeah, he took the record. Did he take it after Anthony or between me and Anthony?
I know there's a Powerlifting USA photo with him on it, and he had benched in my hometown here in like 1994.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
probably
so
after.
He probably was right after me then, and then Anthony probably took it from him. I'm guessing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember Craig Tukarski, and I do know that we've talked.
Okay.
But we haven't stayed in touch. But yeah, he's a good guy.
Okay.
Likable, real nice guy. From the time that I've shared with.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Barbell Athletic Club says, I recall you have a nutrition degree and wrote a book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got a doctorate in nutrition. I don't look it, but I did write a bench press book, how to add 50 to 75 pounds to your bench press. The book still sells out there.
I was going to say, is there a way for us to get that?
I mean, I don't get anything for it because it's been pirated so bad. And that is another...
I've seen different versions of it online.
Well, it's a bad thing about the sport. I mean, the original version's being pirated. And I wrote that book with the help of Tom and Mike Banish. They're actually the ones, they started a franchise, Power Shack Gym franchise, and they needed a home gym to advertise, so they give me the name. And Power Shack Gym, that's where that name comes from. And they actually helped me in putting that book together.
Okay.
Anyway, since then, I'm sorry, I think I moved that camera.
You're fine.
Since then, it's people's gotten copies, made copies, and I still see them for sale online, but I ain't got a dime out of that. My gosh, in 30 years.
Really?
I think there's the original version on my VHS tape. I could have swore it's Ken Lain, the man, the myth, the legend.
Well, that's another book. Yeah.
It's a VHS tape, and it's the one where you're interviewed in the blue shirt, Power Shack shirt.
Yeah. There was an outfit out of California, Dom Minaldi. I remember his name. They put those tapes together.
Yep.
I don't know whatever happened to them. I don't even own a tape.
I got it. It's a prized possession. Ken, I'm not going to lie to you. When it came in the mail, I brought it over to my friend's house, who was my handoff guy all my years, and we watched that thing probably over 100 times. And especially with you benching the 700 bench in it, we used to just gaw at everything that you did in that VHS tape, from talking and like I said, Ken, from you shaking hands with the guy at the end and your forearms are like 36 inches around. And I mean, there was so much I took away from that tape. But you talk about your Matrix program on there, and I think the original program is on that VHS tape. You talk about it. And
well, see, I've seen a piece of it. YouTube's got a piece
of it. Yeah,
that's all I've seen. I don't even own the tape.
Oh,
I've never seen the whole tape. I've never seen it. So
I might buy a conversion thing and then get it out here and put it from VHS tape to the computer and send it to you. I'll find it.
Cool.
That'd be awesome. I appreciate because I don't even know a copy.
You're gonna own a copy. I'll figure out a way to do it.
That's hilarious.
All right, what else we got here? This one here by Alex Estrada.
Big Ken, why didn't you attempt the 750 and 800 bench after you missed it the first time in another meet?
Well, to be dead honest with you, Alex, I got sick, dude, by a product called GHB. And up until that point, I thought that I was bulletproof. And I honestly, God, didn't think anything could hurt.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make a long story out of it. But I was one of the first guys that overdid GHB. Yep. I thought it was okay because I mean you didn't have to have a prescription or anything.
You buy it in a supplement store.
Really?
Yeah, it was just a supplement. Yep. That's all it was. And but anyway, that ended up putting me in ICU. I was, up around that 320-pound mark, and had plenty of warning. I just didn't listen to my body.
Yep.
That's why I was telling people earlier, listen to your body. And but after that little incident, I realized that I was not bulletproof.
Yeah.
And it was from that point, from that 320 point, that I dieted down all the way down to 242.
Yeah.
That's about an 80-pound weight loss in 16 weeks.
That's
And,
huge, Ken.
Whoa.
Wow.
Holy.
I wanted that 242 record, but I also was motivated because I realized that, I could actually die.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke.
it took that for me to realize that I wasn't invincible.
Yeah.
So and that's a good question, Alex. I appreciate you asking. Not a whole lot of people I've told that. So
Alex has another question, and actually pronounce that name on the bottom correctly. You want me to do it?
Do you know how to pronounce it?
I'm going to do my best, but I think Ken
Big
will know who it is.
Ken. Big Ken. Did you ever compete against Samanigo
Samanigo?
from California?
I competed with him. He was in when we went to Italy. Sam Samanigo was a super heavyweight,
Oh.
and I was at 275. Yeah, Sam, another super nice guy. And very strong individual. Back in our time, and to answer your question, I have competed with him. He's a great guy. We competed at Italy. We didn't compete against each other, and I never did meet him. Even when I was in my super heavyweight meets, I never met him as a competitor. But I met him as a fellow lifter, and he's just a great guy.
Okay.
Okay. Very cool.
All right. We seem to be out of questions, and it's
Yeah.
9:30. That's
we
11:30
kept you for
Ken's
it.
time.
Oh my gosh, is that
2.5 hours. I mean, we outdone our first chat.
Yeah. For many of you that don't know, we kind
I'm
of got
sorry
together
we kept you so late.
the day before to make sure that the things would operate correctly with Skype, and Ken had just went out and bought a camera for his computer, and we got it hooked up in Ken, probably 10 minutes. We got it figured out, and then we spent the rest 2 hours chatting. And I actually had to hang up because she was getting home. We were going to the gym. We'd probably still be talking.
Yeah.
Sharing stories, man.
Yeah, you've got so many great stories.
The last 2
and
days
so
have
much
been
good
like
knowledge, man.
like just the best 2 days of this year thus far, man. It really has.
Yeah.
This really made my life here, Ken. I mean, you've been somebody
Well,
that I've looked up to and admired and always wanted to meet, always wanted to see lift. And this has just been an honor. I mean, somebody had given me your email, and I don't know if I thought I reached out to you. This was when Texas had all those bad storms, and there was flooding, and we were supposed to try to set something up then, but it
I
fell.
remember that.
It fell through, and I was like, maybe I just kind of forgot about it. Then I've been seeing a lot of posts from you out in your boat, and I'm like, should I reach out to him? Should I say something?
Yeah, yes would be the answer.
Yes, absolutely. I'm retired, so I mean, I got all kinds of free time.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm not too worried about this time.
Okay.
It's 11, what is that?
11:27.
11:27 here, but I can sleep late in the morning.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
good. I forget about the time difference of our guests.
It gets pretty
sometimes.
late pretty quick.
I mean, it's 9:30 over here, but
But it's going by fast for me, guys.
Okay.
it's went by so fast.
I've got to tell you, I love your humble attitude.
Thank you.
You're a guy that represents the sport super well.
Thank you, Ken.
I've always heard you're a great guy. I've always heard you're a nice guy, but now I know it firsthand.
Yeah.
And I'm not just blowing smoke at you for having me on your show, but you're the kind of folks that need to be representing the sport. You really do, because you got the physique that everybody would love to have, and then you've got the strength, to back it up.
Yeah.
And, it's a rare find.
Thank you.
Especially in today's, even in my time, it's I know how it is. I love chicken fried steak.
I do too.
Mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yes, please.
It's hard to it's hard to keep a good physique when you don't have to.
Yeah.
Right.
But you've done it. And you've done it well.
And doing a lot of research, trying to find pictures for the YouTube thumbnail. I really admire you, and I told you this yesterday. That 242 pic cover of Powerlifting USA, where you're doing the flex, and the body you have there at 242 is just very impressive. And that's inspiring for me because I want to drop weight and try to look like that. I got to work on my legs a little bit more, but yeah, definitely getting in fine shape like that is something I'm definitely after. And I know I can still be strong, even dropping body weight. I won't be as strong, but I'll still be strong.
You're going to, and by no means would I ever tend to tell you what to do, but
I take advice, Ken.
You're going to live longer, brother. I'm just telling you. You get lighter, you quit carrying around. It's good mass. It's awesome mass that you got, but you're going to extend your years.
Yes, sir.
Quicker you get that off of you and get down there, at a decent weight. I'm not talking no skinny guy.
No,
right.
Yeah, 275 looks really good on me.
Skinny, do you?
Lose weight until you don't have to have the CPAP, and then
I'd be normal again.
You'll be normal. Yeah. And me, I didn't have a CPAP, but I had the same problem. I had sleep apnea. I quit breathing. And I'd wake up gasping for air and thinking I was having a heart attack.
Oh shit! What'd you do to fix that though?
I've got a fan and started blowing it straight in my face.
Okay.
And that's just like a CPAP. I mean, it was.
Yeah. Really?
I guess it wasn't so bad that I had to have the CPAP, but I do remember, when I was up there at the 320 mark.
Yes, sir.
That is absolutely when it was at its worst. When I was, the heavier I am, the worse that
That's
is.
right.
But I was able to alleviate it with a fan blowing in my face. But that's just a cheap old country boy trick, I guess.
I wouldn't have known that would work. Like,
I'll sleep with a fan when it's 0 degrees outside.
Wow.
I've got to have it.
Just want to make a quick note. Jamie Harris, a great bench presser back in the day, just dropped by and said, "Great interview, guys."
Hey, yeah, he sent me an email. I told you I'd shared that email, and I got an email from him, and he's the guy that does the Elvis impressions.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. He sent me like I said, I shared your post about the show. And, he actually commented on the post.
Oh, really?
We actually talked a little bit. I think that's the first time that Jamie and I have ever actually conversed.
Oh, wow, this has been a positive thing all around.
You've opened up a lot of doors for me, Ryan.
Okay, that's okay. Somebody else just posted, Scott Todd. He says, "I can remember when Anthony Clark came and visited you at the gym."
Yep, Scott Todd was a member of the club. Good to hear from you, Scott.
Oh, wow.
I was telling Ryan, Anthony stayed 3 days with me, and I didn't get no sleep for 3 days. As soon as Anthony's head hit the pillow, I mean, the rooftop was actually rolling back.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I've never seen anybody snore like that. Oh, my gosh. But Scott Todd was a powerlifter. He was in 165 class.
Okay.
Very competitive. One of my good benchers, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
And he actually emceed some of the meets that we put on.
Okay.
Okay.
He was good at that. So, hey, appreciate you joining the show, Scott. Really.
Very cool. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I wish I kind of put this advertisement out a little late. If in a perfect world, if we could have got it out like on Monday, we would have probably had more of a gathering. But as popular,
sure why you didn't.
So I wasn't sure if the computer was going to work, or we had to make sure.
We didn't know if my video was going to work.
We wasn't sure. Yeah,
I'd already told him, hey, I really am the 8-track guy in the iPod world.
But it's Ken that got it to work. Yeah,
I actually played 8 tracks at one time.
There's nothing I could do on my end with Skype. Ken actually was over there pushing buttons and got it to work. So thank you, Ken. Yeah.
Really appreciate you getting it going.
Every dog gets a bone,
Yeah, we really appreciate you going out of your way to get a setup where you could do this.
I have enjoyed
this.
It.
Has been a blast.
Scott Todd says thanks for the shout out.
Tell him you're welcome, Scott. We call Scott Mr. Powerlifter.
Oh.
That's what we called him in the gym. Yeah, because me and he knew everybody he knew whoever the best lifter was in whatever class, Scott Todd knew it.
Really?
And I don't know how he kept up with that. He was with Dice Air Force Base out there. He actually disarmed bombs.
Whoa.
And,
Whoa.
Yeah. So the dude wasn't scared of nothing,
Cool as that.
But we called him Mr. Powerlifter because if you wanted to know whoever the squat record holder was, the 242 class, he would know.
You would know exactly who it was. That's
Alex
awesome.
Estrada chimed in real quick. He says, Big Ken, I used to lift and train with Sam Say Inego and Jan Harrell and Enrique Hernandez in the 80s.
Wow. Yeah, I remember Jan Harrell.
Yeah.
And Sam Sim. I wish is Sam Simonego still alive? You know, I mean,
Alex, is Sam Say Inego still alive? Do you know? We'll see if we get a response from that.
You know, I haven't heard from him, haven't seen anything about him, and you know, so many of the heavyweights have passed away. You know, especially that were in my time, and I was just curious. I didn't know if he was still around or not, but I hope he is. It'll make me feel better.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. We're still waiting for Alex to answer.
Jamie Harris is posting here. He says we should do a show on the evolution of bench press shirts, and
that would be fast.
From the blast shirt to the new slingshots. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I've worn them all. I'm from blast shirt all the way to the bench bands now. So that's how long I've been in this game.
Andrew put me in a blast shirt. You know, of course, I was Andrew's guinea pig. You know, I got a shirt that I had. He tilted the sleeves in it more than what the regular blast shirt was.
Okay.
I remember that was the first guinea pig trick he pulled on me. Yeah, he was always trying, something with the sleeves.
Yeah, always innovative.
Lowering the collar or something.
He did the same with me, Ken. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They were him and the manager used to constantly do different things and ask me how I liked them.
Is Peter Thorne still with him?
As far as I know, yes, but I didn't see anybody of those people at the Arnold Classic at the Inzer booth. I was there, and I just asked about John Inzer. Parker Douglas works for the company now, and he used to be with House of Pain, I believe. And I was just asking about John, if anybody's seen him or anything, and I didn't see Peter Thorne there at all. So
yeah, okay.
Alex Estrada got back to you about that question. He says I haven't heard from him either.
Yeah, well, that's scary. So
okay.
We hope he's alive and well. So for sure.
Jamie Harris says denims from Franz came out after Ken did 722.
I never even heard of Franz. Is that a shirt?
Ernie Franz.
France.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. No, I remember Ernie. Yeah. Ernie's the one, that put on or helped put on. He put the U.S. team together for the meet in Italy.
Oh.
Enzo Cattucci was the guy to put the meet on, but it was Ernie France that actually put the team together.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Jamie, I'll have to get a hold of you, and we'll have to set something up for a show. I'd be interested.
Cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun to talk about. Trip down memory lane of bench shirts for sure. I've worn them all, and I've had ups and downs with all of them, and finally had some ups at the very end of my career, obviously. But these band shirts are also a different kind of monster that have taken over. It's so crazy. I mean, Jamie, I don't know if you're aware, but there's been 30 plus people now that have bench pressed over 1,000 pounds in these shirts, and wow, how times have changed. 1,000 pounds is beginning to become a kind of a, I hate to say normal, but.
Think about 700 used to be me, I was wanting to crack that 800 mark. That was my goal.
I know.
But I just never got to that point, and I can't think of anybody better than Ryan Kennelly.
Thank you, sir.
But it's just, I respect any man that's willing to get under a 1,400-pound bar. You just have to have respect for somebody.
You do.
Absolutely.
That is not afraid to get under that kind of weight, but you have to ask yourself, where does it end? When your bench press is over your squat and your deadlift, then you're going, okay. I mean, I didn't think the bench would ever be over the squat.
I remember that, yeah.
Regardless, I didn't think that would ever happen. And I still remember back in my day when there was an orthopedic article about powerlifting, and that there was no way that 1,000 pounds would ever be able to be squatted because it would pulverize the L5 vertebra. Well, they've blown that the hell out
of the water.
But it makes me wonder, I don't know, what's the limit,
Seriously.
what do people want? What do they really want?
More, and more.
More and more weight.
And they really don't care how,
No.
So
Right.
it's
Just do it.
Just get more weight on that bar, right?
the human body's going to be unable, to. Ryan was the one telling me somebody broke a forearm or something at 900 pounds.
In our gym.
But there's got to be a point somewhere. There's always a weak link in any chain.
Yes, right.
There's going to come a point somewhere, where the human body's just not going to be able to take that.
Well, when
you still got your elbows still got to support it.
That's
your
right.
wrists still got to support it. And I'm just wondering, I'm having a problem with my wrist today, and I'm handling way lighter weights. I feel like a panty waist back when I was training with. But I just wonder where there's an end somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere the chest is actually going to cave in.
Yeah. Something.
Right? Like,
Well,
something's going to give
Or
out.
the shoulders are going to fall off, or something.
Well, in time, maybe coming, or maybe a new evolution of shirts, or you just never know anymore. It's unpredictable. I never thought we'd be here.
Well, as often as the record has increased, these, it stood. God, I don't know how long that 661 at Kazmaier stood. It was
Quite a while. That was done in the 80s, right?
Yeah. Well, no, 70s.
70s.
Yeah, because it was 75.
Really? I didn't know that.
Really?
When I was admiring that 661 bench of Bill Kazmaier's, and I don't know when he said it. I just knew that he had it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you start talking about 75, you're going, oh my God, is there still people alive today that live then?
75, yeah.
But anyway, it's just, it seemed like about the time you started, Ryan, it seemed like guys just came out of everywhere with these, monster friggin' benches. And
yeah, it's really funny because after I did it in the denim, John had just came out with the Rage X. And as soon as he came out with the Rage X, I mean, there was like 50 people that could do 800. It took a year or two afterwards, but 800 was a pretty attainable number in the new shirt. So I knew right then that the equipment was going to change, and so were the records as we went on. I just never, if a little birdie would have came and sat on my shoulder when I benched 800 and said there'll be a man that nearly benches 800 raw and a guy that does 1400 in a shirt, I would have said, not true. And here,
I would have never. I
never would have fathomed it, but it's happening.
The record squat, was, and Anthony may have had it because I know Anthony squatted over 1,000.
He did, yeah.
The squat was still in the 1,000 something mark, during my time, and I never ever. I would have bet you my right leg.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever bench what that squat record was then. I just didn't think it would ever happen. And,
nobody did at that time. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't fathom how physically, it could happen. But here we got a guy now doing 1,400 pounds. So yeah.
Yep.
It makes you wonder where the end is. Yeah, for sure.
Alex Estrada says, Big Ken, you want to read it?
Whoa.
Oh.
Where are we at? Did we do? You didn't read Jamie Harris?
No, I didn't read that one, no.
Jamie Harris also said, haha, I couldn't imagine even holding a grand at arm's length back then.
Yeah. Back then. No.
Yeah,
Bodies weren't ready for that.
Nope. And I don't know about you, Ryan. He says that, and it makes me laugh, and I respect what he says. But after 600 in the hands, to me, the weight didn't feel much different in the hands.
Really?
Did it to you? I'm just curious. That's a question I have for you.
I made I was when I made bench progress, when I hit my first 600, I wasn't looking 700. I was looking at 620, 650 in the gradual increases that I took. And I never really did heavy static holds or anything to get used to weight.
Well, even in your warm-ups and your openers, but taking them out of the racks and right here, I couldn't feel a whole lot of difference
No,
between 600 pounds and 700 pounds.
it starts to
I
all
mean,
feel the same per se. Yeah,
right here, I mean, it all feels heavy.
yeah,
It wasn't until you got close down here to the bottom that you could tell.
yeah.
I remember the 755, and I was coming down with it and I would never did. You see people pass out, taking a full breath of air in a tight shirt, and then take the bar out and come down. And I've seen them actually pass out and drop the bar on
Oh,
themselves.
wow.
So
Scary.
I always exhaled when I took the bar out. Okay.
Okay.
When I got the bar over me, then I took a full breath
Yeah.
of air. Okay. The 755, I remember I couldn't get a full breath of air.
Oh,
There was enough pressure
yep.
on me that I couldn't get a full.
Oh, that's
I couldn't
crazy.
get a
Yeah.
full breath, and that's the only time that I could ever really tell the difference, in a weight as far as out of the racks in the hands up here. At the
Gotcha.
top.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't know, if there was much. I didn't know what the difference was because you've been up thousands plus.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that felt that much. Did it actually feel 200 or 300 pounds heavier
No.
in your hand
No.
than your head did? Yeah, and it didn't to me either. But the weights were smaller, but I couldn't tell. That's why I couldn't tell if I had a misload.
Yeah.
Up here, I couldn't tell. Even with the misloads, I got down to the bottom. It was when I exploded. It's when the bar would
Oh, gotcha.
go to another side. But the actual descent of it, I really couldn't tell. I couldn't tell that it was misloaded. I mean, I say that maybe kinda you could, but your psych and stuff. I mean,
Right.
I didn't know it was a misload until it exploded for the press both times. So, have you been misloaded? You've had.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we usually
spotter,
catch it right on the handoff.
That's your spotter's fault.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we rarely have that problem, but we still have it actually in the gym. So
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of. I'm talking at a meet.
I don't know, but I don't think I have. Thank God, I don't remember.
you've never had a misload at a meet.
I
That surprises me. Yeah.
I don't think I. Oh, I'm sure I went up and laid down, and they said stop. The wrong weights on the bar, and then I had to sit back
They
up.
taught it before you actually lifted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had 2 misloads. Both of them in California at meets. So.
Those are the 2 times I've been misloaded.
Yeah, she's been misloaded in California too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if everybody's shut down, and you are done with me, I'm gonna.
No, we got a
We've
few more.
actually got more people watching
Oh,
than we
good.
do when
Yeah.
it's just us. But if you're ready, we absolutely.
No. Go ahead. Somebody's got a question. Go ahead. Go for it.
Big Ken, you and I know about Anthony Clark's monster snoring firsthand. He would come visit me here in San Diego. That's Alex Estrada.
So he apparently had the same experience as you did.
I'm sure he's getting a kick out of that one. Yeah.
Jamie Harris says, talk about the
Did he ever-
inconsistencies of the quality at bench meets. There was no standard Forza type bench back then. Forza is what I've set most of my 98% of my world records on was a Forza bench because they're manufactured out of here, Spokane, Washington, and Gus Rethwich would have those in his meet, so that's what I lifted on it. So that's the bench that I would typically use. Alex Estrada has a good question here for you, Ken. Big Ken, do you have any special exercises for sticky points?
Ooh. Yeah. See, I never even trained with the chains.
Right.
So the answer to the question, short answer, I'm going to have to say no.
Okay.
A good shirt, you're going to stick at the top.
Yes.
If you don't have a good shirt or you're no gear, it's going to stick at the bottom. I mean, you're not going to have the power to come off your chest. That's generally going to be the rule of thumb.
Okay.
Anyway, you would be better to answer this, Ryan. I mean, you've trained the chain thing and
board presses.
You can answer that question better than me. So.
I'm just going to go back as far as I can. And when I had a sticky point, we did rack lockouts. We tried to find the area where we would stick that transition point up here and then do old school rack lockouts. And then later on, of course, we got board presses, and then we could put boards on our chest and come down and work that abnormal starting point where the sticky point would be. And we also did floor presses. Louis says a floor press, when you bring a bar out laying flat on the floor, you come down, when where you stop at the bottom is everybody's universal sticky point. Louis said that. And so there's two reasons to get out of that sticky point. That's speed and explosive power, proper technique, of course, and strong triceps. And so you got to become faster to get through there, and you got to find out where it's at and start attacking it at that level. And everybody has a different sticky point. Obviously, people get it up to a certain place and they can't finish it, and that's usually could be some technical reasons, external rotation of the arm, shoulders here. I mean, it goes on and on. You kind of have to see the lifter and have to see where the sticky point is. Look at the athlete. Define speed benching is one of them that we do. Speed and explosive power training at a certain percentage. There's a whole bunch of scientific ways around it, but back in the day, there was no bands and chains and stuff, and rack lockouts are kind of the staple of what we use. I mean, we'd bench press and we'd go right over to the rack, second exercise. And we didn't have a rack with a hole every, millimeter. They were gigantic bars, and it was like every 2 inches. So it was either way up here or 3 inches down. That's where your sticky point had to be. So that's where we worked out at. And that's kind of how we attacked it. And of course, we did tricep work, and we didn't train in our shirt a lot. We did a lot of raw lifting until 2 weeks out from a meet. So then we put the damn shirt on. That's the old school way.
I apologize to everybody out there. I had to put a dip.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's one of my bad habits. I've got too many of those bad habits.
We got the same one.
I don't. Who dips that? Who says that?
Well, we share it.
It shrinks fat cells.
Really? Yeah. Hey, you know what?
We share it.
I call mine dewormer. That's what I do. You swallow it, you won't have any worms.
Scott Todd says Gus was a crazy guy. One crazy guy.
Gus Ruthwood?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
I've known him for many years, and he's got. Don't ever drink with him, because he'll tell the same story. It's probably about a 4 hour long. He just talks, and they're all Hawaii World Record Breaker story. How he was the first man to get 900 to his knees. How strong. Who was the deadlifter out there that passed away? Doyle Kennedy has Doyle Kennedy stories. I mean, some of them were fun to hear, but I was doing a WABDL meet three or four times a year.
Passanella, that was a guy that passed away that competed at the Hawaii meets during my time.
Doyle Kennedy?
Dave Passanella.
Dave Passanella, what happened to him?
Yeah, Gus will know him. He was killed in a car wreck.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Did you know him? Had you heard of him? He was a strength coach from the Big Ten colleges.
I never met him in person, no.
Yeah. I mean, God takes the good ones. He just does early. And he was definitely one of the good ones. But yeah, and he was a 3-lift lifter and was good in all 3 lifts.
Okay.
275-pound class guy, and had a great deadlift. That's when he was talking about. I know Gus knows him because Dave was out there regularly.
Right.
Looking guy, marketable guy. Especially for the sport of powerlifting. I mean, he was one of them guys like you that everybody would.
Oh, you're Passanella, strength coach for University of Georgia out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Ted, the big squat guy who.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him. University. What's that?
You were probably in high school.
Yes, I was. Yep. Yeah, car wreck. Totally. I haven't heard that name in a long time. I had to think about it. Passanella. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he would have. Yeah, he would have done a lot bigger things. I mean, because he was just in his prime.
Strong man. Yes.
Yes, very much. But he was definitely going to set records in that squat, and probably the deadlift too. And he was not a bad bencher. He was a 580, but he was close to a 6.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah, he would have definitely, he definitely would have been a somebody you didn't want to, not be prepared for in a meet. That's for sure.
Did you ever meet him at all?
Yeah, I met him in Hawaii.
Okay. Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah. And super.
Okay. I missed that.
Don't come any better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scott Todd, Fred Hatfield talked about compensation acceleration for clearing sticky points. Hatfield's a very smart man.
I told you we call Scott Todd Mr. Powerlifter for a reason.
Yeah. He's like a walking Google. I like this guy.
Walking Google for powerlifters.
Alex Estrada says we did some close grip rack lockouts. And Jamie Harris says he had all-time biggest numbers at 275.
Passanella, is that who he's talking about?
Jamie Harris, I'm not sure. Jamie, who are you talking about at 275? Passanella. We'll find out here in a minute.
Sometimes it's hard to tell when you go.
Oh, here's a question from Alex Estrada. Big Ken, do you remember the Hawaiian Dwayne Feely? He was at the Hawaii Record Breakers meet also. Felly. Dwayne Felly. Felly?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I know there were some Hawaiian lifters there, but you get in a zone at a meet, and unless it's a Dave Passanella or somebody like that, you don't remember.
Right.
And Jamie Harris came back and said, the all-time biggest numbers at all time 275. Talking about Dave Passanella. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured he was. Yeah.
That seems to be about it. No.
Jamie Harris. Dave tried an 1100 squat at 275 with an Enzer Z suit. Very basic.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So just try. Did he not get it?
The guy was a beast. In our time, he was a beast. For sure.
Awesome.
Kind of like Ryan is today. So.
Dang. So did he get the 1100 squat
No,
or
I don't
just
think
tried
so.
Okay. I guess he would have said.
I know he was up there in that 1,000, and he was a 75er.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
his squad was as good as the supers. And he had a dang good deadlift too. I don't remember what it was.
Really?
But, those two lifts were his lifts.
What years did Passanella compete in? Was that early 80s or?
It was. I met him at my first record breakers in Hawaii.
Okay.
But I don't know what year
Okay.
that was. It was probably late 80s, I would guess.
Car wreck. Oh, that's not good. How did Confessor pass away? Was that a car wreck also, or?
I didn't know he had passed away.
Yeah, he passed away. I had his wife. I did a video on my YouTube channel commemorating him in his life. It was just a small little thing, and his wife got a hold of me and thanked me. And I kind of remember. I just thought maybe I don't want to, because I don't remember it correctly, but he passed away a few years, 3 years, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't know.
It was a car wreck, though?
I don't quote me on that. I'd have to go look, Google it or something. But yeah, he passed away.
I sure didn't know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
those car accidents, man.
Cars are dangerous.
I mean,
they really don't. They're not prejudiced, are they?
no, and it's just, I mean, they're so scary because it can happen to anybody at
The
any
cars they're making
time.
now, they're made all out of plastic. I mean, there's not much keeping them together. Jamie Harris, 2,400 plus total, early 90s, Passanella.
Dang.
What was it? 24?
2,400 plus total.
Plus. So
I'm
over.
telling you, think about that in the
90s.
Yeah.
That was top 10, probably.
That would have been, I guess that would have been my first meet to Hawaii, I guess would have been around that time. Because that's where I met Dave. But yeah, he was a super nice guy. Another nice guy was Scott Warner. He was strength coach for the college there in El Paso. Scott Warner, I think is his name. He competed there in Hawaii some too.
Jamie Harris says car wreck. Confessor, that is correct.
Okay.
Alex Estrada says, Big Ken, when and where did you meet Scott Middleton? I can answer that.
Yep. It was there in Dallas. What was that meet?
Was it deadlift?
No, it was.
Inzer put it on.
Yeah, Inzer put it on. It was some type of symposium.
Yeah.
strength. They had all kinds of things going on.
Like a little
there.
expo, yeah.
Yeah. But
you were on the cover of Powerlifting USA with Mendelson and Rob Leondo.
Yeah.
I should have been there, but
Oh.
Inzer and I had a falling out at the time.
Fact, I was looking for you. I really was.
I really wanted, dude. It hurt my feelings when I saw that cover and I couldn't be there. I was so jealous and mad.
No, stop it! I really thought you were going to be there. And
That'd been cool.
And really, you know, I didn't know much about Scott Mendelson until I met him.
Well, I'm sure he told you a lot about himself. Yeah.
there was a guy there. Golly, he had the record total. I'm trying to remember what his name was. All I can remember is the story that he told me. I hope you can think of his name.
Donnie Thompson?
Say it again.
Donnie Thompson? He had a 3,000-pound total at some point. I'm not sure at that time.
This would have been before you know, that injury imposed him, which was what, in 11, 13? What year was that?
I want to say that was like 2009 or something, or 10. Yeah, somewhere in there, 11, 10.
I was thinking of 2011, but it may have been earlier later. I don't know. But I remember the guy, super nice guy, but was crippling around. And he didn't compete at that meet. But all he could talk about was coming back, coming back, you know, and we talked about that. You know, there's one thing that's a fact, and time and health, you know, are two assets that we have that we don't appreciate until they're depleted.
Right? Isn't that the truth?
I mean, you know, it's just a shame. And I got to thinking, you know, maybe Jamie knows that guy that I'm trying to think of his name. If I heard the name,
right,
I would know it. But anyway, he was, you know, the shots, the deep shots that they give you, the pain doctors give you, you know, where they tuck the needle all the way down. Actually,
cortisone shot.
I was going to say cortisone.
Well, it is cortisone, but it's you know, it's a more, it's not invasive, but it's not in a syringe. You know, I mean, it's in a, they do it by X-ray, you know, and they take that needle and they take it right down there to the nerve. I mean, you know, they're watching it on an X-ray.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
A cortisone shot is similar. They have to use an X-ray to get in between my neck joint. Actually, when they did it, they had to figure out, but I don't know if that's the same thing.
Yeah, they're watching the needle as they're pushing it in there. Yeah, okay. This guy was doing it to himself.
Holy
shit.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I did.
That was your response?
I was telling him, and you know, at that time, I was going in about every 3 or 4 months and getting those in my back. He said, "Oh shit, I'll give them to myself."
Oh my god,
he's a warrior.
That's intense.
And no, but wait, I'm not finished with the story. I said, "How do you do that?" He says, "Well, I just go in there and it tells me when I'm going too far."
Dangerous. I don't like that. Wow.
But I mean, that was the mentality, you know, of this guy. I'm curious if he's still around.
I'd like to know his name.
But yes, Dad, come in. I guarantee you, Tiny Meeker will know him.
Okay.
You know, if you next time you talk to him, ask him who that was. He was there, and I think his total. I know it was over 2,500.
Okay.
But it's the record total. You know, he had the record total at one time in you know, all 3 lifts combined.
Okay.
Yeah. If I heard his name, I'd know it, and I apologize. You know,
it's hard to remember names from that far back.
Yeah, and when you're 66, it's harder. Y'all keep that in mind.
I'll be seeing that.
I'm
soon,
not,
Ken.
and I still have problems, man. I tell you.
I blame it on low carbs.
Let's see. What's the next one? Which one are we on here?
Any questions at all? Just kind of, there's chit chat going back and forth.
I was good friends with Chris's brother. Okay, no, sorry, I'm repeating. Alex Estrada asks, you didn't ask this one yet.
Oh, do you remember Doug Furness?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, now he was before my time. But yes, I do remember that guy. Man, there were some beasts, you know, before my time.
Right.
Doug Furness was one of them. And another guy was from Brownwood, right down there from Abilene, Doug Young.
Doug Young,
Uh,
yep.
He was another badass. And he passed away a long time ago.
Oh.
It Texas grew some pretty darn good strong.
Strong people.
Seriously.
Yeah, really good.
Everything's big in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's, I lived there all of my life till I moved up here a year and a half ago.
It's one state I like to go to because people don't stare at me like I'm Bigfoot like they do in Washington out here. I actually can walk around at 320 pounds and be myself.
A little more.
Nobody looks at me crossways. They don't know. They think I'm a football player, college football player, or something. But I get a lot of stink eye out here, Ken.
I miss those days, though. Yeah, it's I don't know about you, but I got to where I walked and I just looked, straight
Tunnel
ahead.
vision, yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't want to make eye contact with nobody.
Yeah.
And
such a judgmental society.
Well, yeah, but but I still miss those days.
I do.
I mean, you walk into a restaurant or something, and you can see everybody just stop eating, and start
and look over like you're going to steal their food.
You can tell in their mind, they're just like what you said. They're that guy must play in the NFL,
WWE.
They never think that must be a pilot.
No,
right?
No, not even across their mind.
No,
he's one of those strong men.
Maybe a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
that's why I wear these sleeveless T-shirts to Costco and Walmart when I push in my cart. I got the guns out.
There you go.
All right.
Let's see.
Probably should let Ken go. It's late.
Oh, I think there was just like one. Scott Todd says, I was lucky. I was in the same Powerlifting USA that Ken's on the cover of in October of 90 when he did the 717. Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Did you know that? That's neat.
I didn't know that, but I should have known that. Scott would know that. I know because I told you, you can pretty much back in the day when he was there at my club, you didn't have to go look it up. Scott pretty much knew who had done what and who was coming up.
I was a junior in high school at that time. Wow.
I was 2 years old.
He was 2 years old.
Oh Lord.
And then Jamie Harris, probably Donnie. He was the only 3,000 guy back then. And then he says maybe Hoff, Gary Frank.
Gary Frank.
That's
it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Is he still around?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Is he competing?
I would say no.
Did he ever make a comeback? I
No.
mean, because I never heard. But he was, he told me that was his plan, was coming back. And the way he was walking, I was going, dude, he's one of the guys, and I'm not knocking him because, good God, he deserves everybody's respect.
Yeah.
But I mean, there just comes a time you got to come up with some other hobbies.
He's retired. Jamie Harris said he's retired.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah. I saw him compete 2007 Senior Nationals in Vegas. That's the last time that I saw him.
What was his total? That's Jamie. Jamie,
do you know Gary Frank's total?
That's the guy. Very well.
I told you if I heard his name, it would ring a bell.
Yeah, Gary Frank. Haven't heard that name in a while.
Well, I met him down there at that injured, symposium. Emporium, whatever it was.
Whatever it was, right?
Same meet that I met Scott at.
Yeah. I can't remember what that trade show was. It was not the Olympia, but it was something else. That I remember what it was. I just wished I was there. Oh well. Right under 2,800. Gary Frank total.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's a hoss. I don't care who you are.
That's huge.
Huge.
Yeah. He could pull, he could squat, and he could bench. He did it all.
Yeah.
That must be nice.
You're not going to get up 2,800 if you can't do all three.
Right, I know that ain't what you're gonna. For sure.
Yeah, I remember, 2,000, in my time was a really good total.
Oh, absolutely.
2,100, 22. I mean, those were just unheard of totals. You know, so y'all just named somebody a while ago that had a 3,000 total.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I'm going, good God. You know,
3,100 total too. Dave Hoff.
Where will it be in another 30 years? That's what
4,000 total. I don't know.
Jeez.
I can't say it won't.
No way.
You know, maybe the squats.
No,
Crazy.
I don't dare say it won't ever.
No,
Right.
again.
No.
I can't.
Yeah.
Not what I've seen so far.
I honestly never thought there'd be a 1,000-pound bench. Not in my lifetime. I didn't think there ever would be.
And I guess Gary Frank later benched 900 later on. So yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah,
That's really impressive. It's crazy.
it's really impressive. You know, only a man that's mentioned over 1,000 can say, "Well, you know, that's impressive."
I think all of it is, man. Every step, you know, from 600 on up, man. It's impressive anymore.
Well, see, in my time, you know, like I was saying earlier, 400-pound bench was a good bench. I mean, what is a good bench now? I mean, I'm talking, you know, raw, just training, you know, in the gym. What's considered a good bench?
For an athlete or just to walk in a gym and see somebody do.
You know, I'm talking about a strong guy. You know, in my time, if you were benching in the 400s, you were darn sure. I mean, you were in the top friggin' percent. You know,
405 raw is a pretty good bench, but now there's a lot of people doing 500 raw. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of those on social media.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I can't believe how many.
There's a handful that do 600, but you know, 500 is kind of like the kind of a good area you want to be if you want.
Yeah. Well, that's what 400 was.
Yeah.
You know, back in my time. Yeah. So
remember, we first started out 315 in any gym was a good bench. 3 plates on each side. That was huge.
I know.
Yeah. Well, see the 350 when I was in high school, you know,
that's huge.
That was huge.
Damn.
And, and I didn't know it. I mean, I was just a dumb roughneck from West Texas.
Let's see where were we at? I think there was a couple.
We're at dinner time for the bench.
He's
Benchmonster
getting hungry over here. Jamie Harris, he came before all the other big guys. Jamie also says he benched 900 plus later on.
Yeah.
Tell him about Julius Maddox.
We talked about Julius Maddox. You know, he's done 792 on record, I believe.
Crazy.
And he'll try to get that 800. He was misloaded really bad in Chicago.
Yeah, Julius. He was on ESPN, and how much was it misloaded by?
90 pounds on one side or something.
Are you sure it was that much?
I don't know. It was bad.
It was something substantial.
That is bad.
Yeah.
And it was like this huge deal. He was on ESPN, like he was going for it. He got all amped up, and then to have it be misloaded like that.
Yeah.
And you know, a good spotter, that never happens.
Yeah.
You know that in my spotter, John, actually paid for my spotter's weight. My meets out there in California. Just so I would have my guy.
Your guys there. You have to have them.
How it should be.
Especially after that, fiasco, that we had in Hawaii where they called it a designated spot. They just didn't want a lot of people, back behind
in the warm-up area.
I get that. Yeah, they didn't want a lot of people that didn't need to be back there, but that was a bad idea.
Right.
Because me and Ryan talked about, trying new things at the meet. You just don't do that.
No.
And spotters is one of them. You got to trust that guy.
Absolutely.
But one of his main jobs is counting them plates.
Yeah, I think it's the head judge's job too, who calls out the weights.
Yeah, but it's still your spotter.
Yeah, that's true. You got to keep an eye on that each side.
If you've got a good spotter, you don't ever get overloaded. And my guy saved me at that 275 meet. Avengers, that I was at, because I was misloaded bad, but my spotter caught it.
I forgot to tell you, I was misloaded at a meet one time. I thought I was opening with 905, and they forgot to add the bar, so it was 945. I forgot about that one. Yeah, I put that up, and I was like, my God, I got nothing left. I mean, I'm done for the day. That's 905.
Yeah.
No, they came back and go, we forgot to count the bar. It was 945. Oh, okay. I'll go
Yeah,
975 next. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that one. I know if I could remember, I'd tell you one.
that John Pettit, he was the head judge. He was an IPF judge at the first that 707 that I did, which was the record. Uh, uh, anyway, it's 708. But I thought it was 707 when I went out to lift, and I'd got back, and I was, in the after the meet, you just kind of melt. And John Petty comes back there, he says, "Hey man, we got the weight wrong on your record attempt." And he had this solemn looking face, and I'm going, what I was doing. Yeah, I had that face. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh shit. He said it was 708. Yeah, but I was done prepared for the bad news.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man.
What's your guys' opinion on 3-man handoff? I know Anthony used it. 3-man handoff?
Never had it.
Never?
I mean, I like having 3 guys there,
Yeah.
Right.
But I've never took a 3-man handoff. But I mean, I was doing the 700s. You guys are in the thousands plus, so you probably need a 3-man handoff.
Yeah, we do.
That's
and sometimes it's hard to get right. Not everybody's on the same page, and you get a little teeter-totter on the handoff, and that can ruin the lift.
I was just thinking all kinds of bad things about somebody being on each side of that bar.
Yes.
And if your same 3 people don't do it consistently, it's like having somebody come in last minute and just taking over on the side. It doesn't work. No, you'll get it dropped in your hand, and it's a nightmare.
I can think of all kinds of bad things that could happen on a deal.
Yeah. And when you got like 1,000 pounds in your hand and you're taking it out, this has happened to me time and time again. I don't say anything because I don't want to yell at my guys, but just coming out and coming down, they still got a hold of it on the side, and then they let go at the halfway down point. I mean, I'm seeing it more and more often, and as a coach, I'm having to correct that and get the right people in the right position and get their shit together. I mean, it's important stuff. We're going to a meet in 2 weeks. We got to get this down. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mistakes like that just shouldn't be made. Those not at the meet.
Yeah.
Not at the day. Yeah.
It's so important to get that weight out and get it out evenly and get it out in their line, because a lot of times when weights get heavier and heavier, the lifter himself.
I told you about my 755 pullover.
Yeah, no way, dude. That's that's dangerous as hell.
That's so bad.
That could have fell down on your head.
A smart man would have just dropped it back in the rack,
right?
But I sat there and fought it, trying to. I thought I was going to get it on over, but here instead of back here.
Yeah.
As soon as it come out of the rack, he let me have it. And it was a screw up. It was a major screw.
Dangerous one too. Could have been.
Yeah. Well, it cost me that lift.
Yeah.
It really did. So, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
You got to play the hand you dealt.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if you don't like it, right? You need super experienced guys.
You sure do.
For sure. When it's like Jimmy Coe, I mean, his guys practice at it. It's the same guys, it sounds like, every week.
And that helps.
So they're able, I mean, they've got it down to an art form, like they're all on the same page. Yeah. They've got the countdown. Everybody knows. It's like a well-oiled machine, and that makes a huge difference.
Well, Ken, we don't have any more questions.
Okay, bro.
We've kept you for so long.
We kept you for a long time.
I'm so sorry.
I've enjoyed it.
I hope that's all right.
This has been a blast.
I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you, Ken.
Thank you guys for having me on. I'm sorry it took me so long to get back with you.
No, that's all right. It's partially my fault.
If you want me back again sometime, I'll be more than happy to do it.
Absolutely.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I mean,
any way that I can help you out in any way, just let me know. You're a lockable guy.
Thank you.
And we need to take care of those guys.
Yeah, believe me, if I ever need some advice, and I know Ken Lain might have the answer, you'll probably get a text message from me.
It takes me anytime. Absolutely.
Yeah. I got your phone number, and I think you have mine. So
yes,
I don't want to lose contact. And you're one of my heroes, man. You're one of the guys that inspired me to do this. And I didn't have anybody. Who did I look up to? It was Ken Lain and Anthony Clark.
Absolutely.
And I liked Ken Lain because I'm not. it was just because Anthony Clark did it reverse. And I remember me and my lifting partner, we were 18. We thought, well, that's probably not going to be legal doing it that way. So that's why I liked Anthony, great guy, but Ken Lain did it like normal. And so I was like, who's this Ken Lain? And John Enzer had 722, 751. Like, these guys are hitting these numbers. These are the people that are doing it. And I want to be just like them. And it's been an honor to actually get you on here.
Not
It
to
really
bloat
has.
you any more than you'd be hard to bloat any at all because you're so big already. But you rapidly became everybody else's hero too. So
I appreciate that. Makes me feel good. It puts wind in my sails when I hear it. And when I go to the trade show, like over the weekend, people still remember who I am. It puts life in these old bones. Let me tell you. They come up and say, "Are you Ryan Kennelly?" Yeah, that's me. Can I have a picture? Oh my God, this is crazy. Yes, please. Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I loved about Hawaii. Hawaii had as many Japanese, as it did American people, running around over there. But the Japanese people are notoriously, they're short, they're small folks.
Yeah.
And anyway, guys would come up with their wives, and want me to take a picture with their wives, and I'd pick their wives up, and put them.
I've done that before.
Yep.
You put them in one arm and just hold
Yep.
them.
Yep.
I used to do it for free lunches.
Oh, he used to do that all the time with waitresses.
90 pounds, it's soaking wet. But those were some, they loved big strength guys.
Yes.
Yeah, you get respect everywhere, but in the U.S.,
Isn't that weird? Yeah.
You still get respect in the U.S., but not like you do overseas.
No, you don't. Absolutely, Ken. That's true.
Anyway, but thoroughly have enjoyed you guys.
Well, thank you,
We've
Ken.
really enjoyed it.
And thanks for having me on.
I hope we didn't. Hope it wasn't too late.
I know.
I
I'm
was trying
sorry
to get
we
off.
kept, but we've had way more people on for way long. We've had quite a few people this whole time. Usually, if it were just us, they would have been gone a long time ago.
I think this has been
And
very
other
informative.
guests, I mean, this is the longest we've kept.
And I learned a lot too, and it was fun to listen to some of your stories. I mean, this is a part of powerlifting, and I wasn't a part of in your era. I didn't come along until 1997, so it was fun to kind of relive those memories with you and throw out some names and hear stories and ask questions that I wanted to ask, and this has been real enjoyable. And I thank you. I can't thank you enough,
We're
Ken.
very
Thank you so
grateful
much.
for your time. I know it's been hours.
It's 3.5 hours. It has gone by as fast as any 3.5
I
hours.
know. I can't believe it. I mean, that just flew.
But, when time goes by that fast, you're with good company.
You're having fun too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a good time, man. It went by so
Well, Ken,
fast.
we'll sign off here, and
our audience loved the chat boxes.
everybody's saying thank you, thank you.
A lot of thank yous. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you
well,
guys.
I again appreciate it. I'm going to sign off.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for having me.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you so
Ken.
much.
Have
We
a good night.
appreciate it.
All right, y'all too.
Have
Good
a
night,
great
Ken.
night. Thank you so much.